Geico asks, how would you love a chance to save some money on insurance? Of course you would. And when it comes to great rates on insurance, Geico can help. Like with insurance for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, and RV. Even help with homeowners or renters coverage. Plus, add an easy-to-use mobile app, available 24-hour roadside assistance and more, and Geico is an easy choice. Switch today and see all the ways you could save. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com or contact your local agent today.
Talkshoe. Recorded live.
Good night. Good evening, everybody. Tonight we discuss dreams, everything in the dream world, masonry, and we have a special guest tonight, Michael Bell. This is the natural order of everything. Michael, how are we doing tonight?
Fantastic. Alive and well, all praises due to the God in me.
Well, we're glad to have you here. This is the natural order of everything. This is a called Metaphysical Left-Hand Path show. On this show, we discuss things that may rub some people the wrong way, unfortunately. If that happens to be the case and you stumbled across some mistakes, just do us a favor and just, take a hike. We don't need any of the banter, but if you're here and you want to learn something, feel free to stick around and ask questions. I feel like tonight's guest, we're going to lay it down for you guys to stick tonight. Brother Shannon can't make it tonight. He's got some things going on. He may join the call a little bit later. But dreams, it's something we do every night, whether you realize it or not. It can be a positive experience for some. It can be a negative experience for others. A lot of people may or may not recall dreams. Either rate, it's something that a lot of people have come to want to know a lot about, and unfortunately, the information on dreams just isn't readily available. So tonight we're going to do everything we can to try to explain that to anyone who's interested in anything metaphysics, occult, and where dreams come in and how much dreams can tell you about yourself. So tonight's guest, Michael, specializes in dream and dream work and has been kind enough to come join us today and give us a real good understanding on the world of dreams. So, Michael, what do you got for us this evening?
Brother Gene, first I want to say thank you for the invite. Truly honored. I find myself, I've said it before and I always want to say it again, I find myself being a student that helps other students with their homework. I can remember when I first stumbled down this rabbit hole that a lot of the questions I had, either they didn't get answered or people didn't have answers for them. So what got me so deep into the dream is that I had questions, and it was hard to get answers to these questions. And like a lot of us, we started off with Bobby or Brother Phil or Panic, and some of these brothers were actually inaccessible. You ask Panic about a dream, he'll liable to go off on you. So I decided to do the work for myself. And at this point, I'm at over 3 years of intense dream study. So everything I do is from the standpoint of a student who has mastered a few techniques, more than a few, and I'm willing to help other students because I've learned a few points. I noticed a lot of people will say, oh, I rarely dream, or I never dream, LOL. And those kind of bother me because everybody dreams. Everybody dreams. The only thing is whether you recall it or whether you understand it. But every night when we go to sleep, we all dream. So that's what got me on it. Because to be honest, when I first stumbled down this path, I was one of those brothers who would say, oh, I remember a dream or two every year, and it would always be something wild. And as I begun my dream study, I realized a few things. Number one, whenever we do recall a dream, if it's very odd, if it's something stands out, if there's a lot of symbolism we don't understand, especially if it's a nightmare, we have to tell somebody about it before we can move on. So one of the first things I did for myself and to begin my dream studies, I would ask people in conversation. You go to social functions. It doesn't matter if it's Christmas or birthday. I would always ask people about their dreams. When the last dream time you dreamed? What's the earliest dream you remember? Little things like that. and you start to piece together the world of dreams for yourself. Because the bottom line is everybody is connected through the dream, but the dream is personal just for you. And so we find ourselves, it's a very peculiar position to be in. You know, you can share this universal consciousness, but the message is tailored specifically just to you. So for me, one of my first steps, and I would recommend it to anybody, is start you a dream journal. Because even if you started and the first 30 days, the first 60 days, the first 90 days, you remember nothing, you start you a dream journal. And I did a few posts on Facebook, and the best thing that I found out, because my first year of dream studies, I was real sporadic. Consistency and patience is what counts in this game. So you want to be consistent and patient. But what I found was I wasn't having anything to write in my dream journal. So I would look, and every day I was writing. Last night I chose not to remember anything. Tonight I'm going to choose to remember, you know. So what I started doing was I do actively meditate. So what I would do is whatever I saw in my meditation, I wrote into my dream journal. Another thing I did was you have to give yourself these reality checks. So as a reality check, you got to constantly ask yourself, am I in a dream? Because we've all had that one dream that when we woke up, we weren't sure if we were woke or not. So for me, my dream check was actually the opposite. You're supposed to ask yourself, am I dreaming? But what I did was I just treated my everyday life like the dream. So if I saw a bum pushing a cart with a robe on, I would tell myself he was the Jedi Knight. I would basically use my imagination. And in this realm that we're in, we know that imagination is just the eye, which is your third eye, magi nation. You got a whole nation in your head. So for me, what I did was I found something to write in my journal because you need success. Success is what makes you push on. So that was my first start, was actually starting a dream journal. And then from that, I started to see certain consistencies, whether it was certain colors, certain people. And I can honestly say in terms of people, I have somebody that pops up in my dreams, a good friend of mine. Whenever I see him in a dream, I instantly say, I'm dreaming. And then I go from the world of dreams to the lucid. Oh, and Gene, before we get off the topic of dreams, I do want to discuss the different levels of the dream in terms of the dream, which is the mundane, emotional dreams from my daily life, to lucid dreaming, the astral. But before I do forget, one topic I want to bring up is when I said that everybody dreams, I think that what most of us don't realize is the dream never stops. We're dreaming right now. I don't mean that in terms of this is an illusion, this is Maya. No. My personal theory is from the moment we're born and develop an ego, our dreams begin and they evolve along with it. So when you wake up from a dream, I think it was Brother Panic who said it. Have you ever wondered why dreams never start at the beginning? You always pop into a dream and you're in the middle of a conversation. You're walking down the street. So I realized just from being intensely on my dream studies, sometimes I would fall asleep, take a nap for 5 minutes and have a full dream. But I realized something. Dreams never stop. And that's why you never experience a beginning or an end. And so once you grasp that concept, it's not like you're going into a dream. You're just picking up where you last left off. And the dream continues whether you're in it or not. The only thing that affects your dream is your day-to-day activities. Because whatever you're stressing about or worried about or focused on, it's going to pop up in your dreams. But I consider those mundane dreams. Any bills I'm worried about, if that pop up in a dream, I'm really unconcerned about it. But if I see some numbers in that dream, I always record numbers because, like everybody else, I'm looking for my winning lottery numbers. I'm going to keep it real. I'm a working day cat, and I would love to hit the lotto and be able to focus strictly on my spiritual. Another point I want to bring up.
Definitely.
Now you feel me, Gene?
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of us don't realize it, but in our dreams, we see 3 black cats. So we see you get somebody hands you a paper and has the numbers 589 written on it. Man, remember those numbers. That's why you want to get in the habit of writing it down. And what I do, I haven't hit yet, I'll be honest. But whenever I see numbers If somebody repeats numbers to me in a dream, I write it down and I play it the next day. Because if it's 3 numbers, you play a daily 3. You play a straight box, so if it come in any combination, you'll hit. If you're real confident about it, you run that number 5, 10, 15 times. At the very least, you get 500 for each hit. So, yeah, you see these numbers, and eventually I want to get to it, but you can set your intentions for that too. Now I need my winning lottery numbers. My personal thing is I tell myself most nights before I go to bed, where's my bag? And as I say, where's my bag, I visualize a bag full of money. Where's my bag? And I literally drive down the street looking for it because that's the way it works, But another topic I want to bring up is a lot of people in these metaphysical communities and their co-communities, we're hot on decoding movies. Bobby turned us on to it. Panic gave everybody the formula, so everybody's decoding movies. But something I realize is this, Gene. Hollywood doesn't put these movies out for our benefit. These movies are actually the fake dream. When we first started talking, I had mentioned how we share a universal dream, a universal consciousness, but each dream that we have is tailored just for us. So if you're watching a movie that Hollywood made by their agenda, you know damn well it's not for you, it's for them. So I realized, and I'll tell you how I realized it. I'm in a lot of these groups, and it's brothers that can decode movies better than anybody I know of. But they say, I don't dream, or they can't decode their own dreams. So that tells me right there, something ain't right. You're getting messages from your own personal deity because that's what your subconscious is. God is, we all have our own personal deity, and that's within us. That's our subconscious. Only thing is, once we got past the age of like 9, 10, maybe 12, we got out of touch of communicating with that deity. So now we get these communications from the deity within us, but we can't even decode it. That might be our winning lottery numbers. That might be that soulmate you're looking for. It might be the job you're looking for. It might be whether to marry this woman or shake that woman. But everybody's so keyed into Hollywood, people don't dream. And if they do, let me take that back. People don't even remember their dreams. They can tell you about a movie they saw 10 years ago. What does that say, Gene?
Well, I find it that a lot of times people will blow things off, a lot of times like deja vu. As a kid, I would experience it often and would just blow it off. But instead of trying to concentrate, meditate on the moment, look at everything that is in that situation, try to find the symbolism and where the connection is there. We're told to blow things off as children. Hey, Mom, I had a dream. Oh, that was just a dream. People don't see these symbols where these things are coming at you, these visions, these numbers, these arrangements, Like you said, anytime you're in a dream state and you see something that's awkward, you see something, that's what you remember. That's what you're actually remembering. Like yesterday, I can't remember what I did yesterday, but I can remember all the highlights of yesterday, just like in a dream. I would never remember that, Prince was riding a purple unicorn for whatever reason, but it was normal to me. No, that was dreaming. Now, what was the symbolism, and why was Prince on a pink horse? So now I need to figure out what was this trying to tell me, because that's what I remember. Anything that you recall from the dream journal, is what you should focus on. Tell the subconscious. Well, this is my practice. I tell the subconscious, I need to know what this means. And throughout the day, this feeling of Kepra, the feeling I like to call mental, not mental, I'd say self-enlightenment. Throughout the day, I'll get these little drops. I'll be like, oh, okay, the pink unicorn could correlate with the fact that I'm needing to get a vehicle. And I keep pushing and pushing and pushing. Whatever it means to me, but the fact that you're going to go into the dream and look for research and look for the answers, man, it is breathtaking, the things I've got from dreams. And every time I have asked a question, I have gotten the answer, and the answer has been so real. It's let me know who I was as an individual to say, can you go through with this? You know, if I say something like, what do I do to change my finances? My dream's going to tell me in such a strong way. But a lot of times people will have these messages and will just ignore them, just blow them, like I say, just blow them out. Won't even understand. They're seeing something so odd. But the subconscious, the spirit, you know, the other side is telling you exactly what you need to do. But, you know, it's the disconnect with the self that I think a lot of people have the biggest problem with. I agree with everything you said, man. It's really awesome to be able to talk dreams with somebody, really, because it's so taboo for a lot of people. A lot of people just feel as if, yeah, I dreamt. Yeah, and I sleep and I pay taxes. No, it's a very important part of who you are. If you know, everybody has that curious question of what's on the other side, and your connection is, you know, your dreaming. And the better practices that you have in dream recall, I feel like it's the better connection that you gain with the subconscious mind in that, you know, in an overall way. But I couldn't agree with what you said more. That was amazing. Well, let me ask you this, Michael. When doing dream research, how was it that you were able to take images from your dreams and decipher the symbolisms? How were you able to make them out? I mean, did you have any techniques? Did you purchase any dream dictionaries or dream interpretation books? What helped? I guess the question would be, what helped you with dream recollection? Because you said in the beginning you would dream sporadically. What helped you recall your dreams to the point where you could really recall them and start writing them out?
Okay, I'm glad you asked me that. One of the first things I did, aside from starting that dream journal, because like you said, most of us blow dreams off. We've been dreaming all our life. It's just something that we do. Don't mean anything. So recording my dreams, I started noticing colors. I've been heavy on my chakra since I got into it, so I'm noticing these colors. But the thing with me is, the weirdness within myself is, and weird, I'll say this too, books. Everybody's a scholar. I can dig it, but books. I started getting etymology books. I had lots of chakra books, psychology of color. But what I realized is, man, my dream, I would have colors, peach, salmon, magenta. It was never like a solid blue or a solid green. So that's what threw me off in the beginning, because I was heavy on my chakras, so I know red, orange, yellow, blue, green, purple. But what the hell does salmon mean? But what I noticed was, okay, first, let me back it up. I want to name some books off. I got a few books here next to me. And these are not books that most people have them. They've been recommended before. But I want to tell the techniques I use. Meditation helped me a lot, because most don't remember their dreams, but anybody can drop into meditation and experience something. What I had was David Michael Cunningham's book, Creating Magical Entities. Now, you might think that has no relation to the dream, but it does. In it, he has a real simple meditation. You envision a 5-petal flower, and you with your eyes closed or open in a dark room. I know you told me you do the dark room meditation. You envision a blaze. Your finger is blazing, whatever color you want to make that blaze, but you make a 5-petal star, and you start that star to rotate clockwise. And then while that blazing it's not a star, it's a 5-petal flower. The ends are rounded. You round it, and then you start it spinning clockwise, and you make another 5-petal flower, and you spin that one counterclockwise. The first time I did that, it was amazing. Now, I told you, I had mentioned earlier that I recorded my dreams. Well, after doing that meditation a few times, I did something for myself that was unexpected. I stepped into the center of the blazing petals, and I went somewhere. But what I started to notice was, in the dream, you're going to find yourself, I'm going to take that back, in meditation, you're going to find yourself doing things and going places that you'd never imagined. But we know from the Kabbalion, which is another awesome book that everybody should read and reread and reread and reread, the all is mind and the universe is mental. That's our one connection with God, is our imagination and our mind. So my first step was from reading books. Another book, let me see. Let me back it up. I want to finish that thought first. But from that David Michael Cunningham book, Create Magical Entities, he suggests that very simple meditation. I realized from that it was a direct tie-in to the dream. So what I did was, as I went to sleep, I would set that 5-petal star, that 5-petal flower, I would blaze it up, spin it, and I would go in. So what I found was, initially, I would do a lot more astral traveling than dreaming. And I want to tie this into something. When you dream, lucid dreaming, astral travel, it's all in the same realm. That's essentially heaven. Most people don't realize it, but the dream where people go after they die, it's all the same. We all know it from the movie Ghost. When Patrick Swayze got knocked down so fast, he thought he was still alive. And I've talked to so many people that have spoke to people that have died, like violent, quick deaths. And when they saw them in the dream, they thought they were still alive. Well, the astral realm is the dream. Now, Gene, I don't know if you're heavy on Kabbalah. That's why my name is the Kabbalah. And I want to get back to that, too. The reason why I'm so heavy in the Kabbalah is because I had downloads on Kabbalah. Before I knew anything about it, I would go into meditation, and I would see these spheres and colors and lights and planets. Eventually, I realized it was Kabbalah. It was the tree of life. But when you go into the dream, I wish I had a visual I could show. But, Gene, do you remember, I'm getting off topic, but it's on topic. You remember Back to the Future, the flux capacitor?
Yeah.
That flux capacitor, you see the shape of a downward triangle?
Mm-hmm.
That flux capacitor is the astral triangle. If you look on the Tree of Life Kabbalah, that's going to be Netzach, Hod, and Yesod. That's where your dreams happen. So you can tie it into that movie. When they was traveling through time, they were actually going through the astral. They were in the realm of dreams. That downward triangle in Kabbalah, the three Sephirah before Malkuth. And I'm speaking on it like that because I hope somebody research it if they don't know. But on the Tree of Life, the bottom three spheres before Malkuth, which is Earth, is Netzach, Hod, and Yesod. Those three planets represent it's called literally the Astral Triangle. So I'm going to tie it in and bring it back. Brother Panic was the first person I heard speak on it. Talk about mental time travel. Well, time travel, dreams, lucid dreams, astral projections, it all happens within that triangle. And that's why I'm so heavy on Kabbalah. That's why my name on this call is the Kabbalah. Because once I figured that out, it helped me out a lot. So a lot of people think when they die, they go to heaven. Who was it? John Henry Clark, I think it was, that said heaven is between the legs of a black woman. Well, yeah. To correct that statement, paradise is in between the legs of a black woman. Because in the Bible, Adam and Eve was in paradise. They wasn't in heaven. Heaven is the astral triangle. And to be honest, it's very low on the sphere. It's right above Earth. So your consciousness, I'm going to tie it into Kabbalah. Your consciousness is tied into those spheres on the Tree of Life. Now, Yesod, which is the moon, and that's Cancer, directly related to the female. The moon is a feminine sign. It's directly related to the female. That's why I say that paradise, not heaven, is in between the legs of a woman. But in that immediate sphere, which is Yesod, which is the moon, Hod, which is Mercury, and Netzach, which is Venus. Those are the three planets closest to the sun, and that's Earth included, right? Yeah. The moon, Mercury, and Venus. So that's our immediate realm. So a lot of people think heaven is the upper room, but to be honest, heaven is all in your mind. That's why you should practice on your dreams, practice on your lucid dreams, practice your astral travel, and practice in your meditations. Because to be honest, heaven ain't that far from Earth. Speaking Kabbalistically in terms of the Tree of Life, all those spheres on the Tree of Life, you see how it's spread out? They're actually only separated by the distance of a thought. So the astral triangle is directly related to us, the physical earth, Malkut, that's the bottom sphere. So for me, once I realized that the Astral Triangle, because I'm heavy on movies. I love watching movies. I love decoding movies. But what I started doing was, once I realized that the dream is actually fake, not the dream. Once I realized that movies are actually the fake imitation dream we're being given, I actually told myself to stop decoding dreams, stop decoding movies, because you get in the habit of decoding something that's not for you. Because movies is good practice, but it has nothing on your dream, because the dream is your personal message. But to get back on track with Kabbalah, I want to tie this in. Kabbalah just represents different spheres of thought. Now, when you're in a dream, you're trapped in that astral triangle, which is the flux capacitor from Back to the Future. And you've seen how Marty McFly did everything he did within that astral triangle. So the same thing applies to the dream. Now, before I get too far off track, I don't want to jump around too much, Gene. Am I jumping around too much?
Oh, brother, you're doing just fine, just fine.
Okay. I want to share something real quick. I grew up a Jehovah's Witness. I do a lot of meditation and past life regression. I actually remember I went back as far as, in terms of this life, I went back as far as months old. My mother was heavy on it. I was indoctrinated. And one of the things she did was we read the Bible every night for an hour. And my mother's reasoning was, if you read the Bible 15 minutes a night in the course of the year, you'll read it from cover to cover. Needless to say, by the time I was 2 years old, I was reading and participating every night on my own. I've been reading since the age of 2. But what I want to point out from this is, around the age of 3, we were reading the Bible, and I had to tell my mom, I had a dream, Mom. I had a dream. So my mom, she stopped the Bible study, and she said, tell your dream, Michael. And I said, I know what God looked like, Mom. And my mom looked at me like I was crazy. What? So I told her, God is a capital letter A. She instantly dismissed me. Boy, dreams ain't nothing. I remember that dream because for one of the reasons I asked other people, do you remember your earliest dream? Most of it, people always say they remember dreams when they were real young. But for me, that dream always stuck with me because I could still see that dream. Lo and behold, decades later, in my 30s, it's called The Vision of Hermes. The Hermetica, it's a book. But when I read the Hermetica, The Vision of Hermes, it said that in Hermes' vision, when he met the deity, that God was a capital letter A. Now that blew me away because for years, my mom's dismissal of my dreams, that set the pace for my dreams. Boy, what you talking about? Get up out of here. So for years, for decades, I figured my dreams wasn't nothing. I told my mom this awesome revelation, and she told me, get up out of here. Get back to reading the Bible. The point I want to make is I have a book here. I want to share the title with you. It's by J.F. Berline, Bierlein. And the name of the book is Parallel Myth. And this book helped me to understand that dream from 3 years old. I'm 45 right now, so it took me 42 years to understand that dream. Our dreams are directly connected to mythology. Mythology is directly connected to God. So every time you go in a dream, you might think it's a stranger, like the old Bible tale. Be kind to strangers because it could be an angel. There's truth in that because our dreams are directly connected to mythology, not just Christian mythology, Jewish, Slavic, because it's all ours. We talked about it earlier. There's a universal consciousness, but the dream is specifically tailored to the individual. So when I realized that dreams are connected to mythology, I started to view my dreams differently. So when you see a female in the dream and she's going to give you something, I look at her different when I wake up, So for me, getting to the point of remembering my dreams and applying it, I'll be honest, lots of work. for me. There's other people, they probably dream mages or dream witches, whatever you want to call it. They probably do it naturally. For me, I have to work. I did a lot of studying. I dream interpretation books. I lots of books on symbols. I poured over all of that. And even though you got to get all these books and still not find the answer. But the thing is, your subconscious knows. So while you're searching and searching and searching, that's what I did. I spent my days, I either read dream interpretation books, and to be honest, we in the age of Aquarius. So, having said that, everything is on the internet. If you don't have these books, I suggest you get them because books are power. Somebody correlated this information. Books are power. However, if you don't got the book, you can Google it. What does snow mean in a dream? What does a tree mean in a dream? And you'll get your answer. And once you get your answer, you immediately turn around and ask yourself, well, what does snow mean to me? What does a tree mean to me? You get the general information and you apply it to self. So for me, it was a mixture. I love reading. Like I said just a minute ago, I started reading at the age of 2. So I'm a reader. So I read. I make it a point to set my intention throughout the day. Like you said too, you have the dream, and you might play it over your head. It might take a few days or even a week, but eventually you'll say, "Oh, that pink unicorn meant." So what I got in the habit of doing is, any dream I have, I try to decode it at least 3 different ways. That way, you get a broader perspective on your dream. Because sometimes you have a dream, okay, I got it. I'm going to be a billionaire. Okay, that's one. What's the next? Because everything has a minimum of 3 layers. And we're going to get to that later. I know we're going to talk about some masonry. And when I say 3 layers, I always think of 3 degrees. But everything has a minimum of 3 interpretations. We all know that a picture is worth 1,000 words. So every dream is worth a minimum of 3 different interpretations. So that's what I try to do. I try to do it. And once I realized I said it before, once I realized that Hollywood was giving us a fake dream, I actually bagged up on decoding movies. I can't stop because I love movies. So every now and then I see a movie, I got to break out my books and give it some thought and even set my attention before I go to sleep to understand a movie. But for the most part, what I did was I switched over from decoding movies to decoding mythology. Now, see, Gene, that's something that get people. Now, it might be easy to decode a movie, but can you decode mythology? Because we just touched on it. If your dreams are directly connected to mythology, then if you can't decode your dream, start decoding mythology. And mythology, what comes to mind immediately, King Minos, right? King Minos, he got at Poseidon. He told Poseidon, man, make me powerful, make me smart, make me wise, give me all the goods for this earthly realm. Poseidon said, I got you. I'm going to give you this white bull. Once I give you this white bull, you're going to be successful. And he said, only thing you got to do is sacrifice that white bull to me once you get it. King Minos got that white bull, and he said, fuck that. This white bull is dope. I'm keeping this white bull. So Minos, he got another, because he figured Poseidon ain't going to know, so he got another white bull, sacrificed that white bull instead. While he was out being a wise and wealthy ruler, his wife fell in love with the bull, had sex with the bull. That's how the Minotaur came about. Now, I'm sharing this story because I'm saying, you hear this, it don't sound like no movie we ever saw, right?
Right.
So that's how your dreams are. Your dreams don't follow the same patterns and connections like Inception or The Matrix. Your dreams are sporadic. Now, you if you can start decoding mythology, you get better at decoding your dreams. So I have a lot of books on mythology, Greek mythology, African mythology. It doesn't matter. I'll be honest with you. My favorite mythology is Nordic. I say it's my favorite because as a youngster growing up, I had more access to that. But I refer to it a lot because the mythologies tell us all the truth. Because we call them mythology, but at some time that was somebody's religion. And just like today, if you ain't with my religion, you with the bullshit. It was real to somebody long ago. And all religions hold a key piece of truth. Now in Nordic mythology, let me say this too. I'm a flat earther. I don't want no titles, but I'm a flat earther, not because I don't think the earth is round or because I think it's flat. I like it because it challenges my preconceived notions. I was raised to believe that the earth is round, blah, 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 blah. What I did was I took flat earth and said, okay, I'm going to back it up a little bit. I let flat earth be my way to challenge everything I know. I call it counter perspective. So what I do is everything you do, like my job, I do a lot of repetitive work. So instead of counting left to right, I count right to left, just to give myself a different perspective and to change my thought, because we fall into these ruts. I don't dream, LOL. We do dream. Everybody dreams. So for me, in Nordic mythology, if you listen to it, if you read it and decode it, and it's right there in your face, it says that the earth, it says that our universe was created from the body of a frost giant. The frost giant is blue-black. And it says that the heavens and the sky was created from the dome of the skull. For me, that's all the proof I needed. But in little stuff like that, once you get into the mythologies and you get the habit of decoding mythology, in my opinion, that's what leads directly to decoding the dream. So what I tried to do for myself was I tried to focus more on mythology than on movies. Because a lot of movies are, to be honest, a lot of movies easy to decode. It's out there for anybody. But we know Hollywood ain't putting out no movies for our benefit. So
most movies are chakra stories.
Chakra stories. And you notice how in the end they shut your chakras down? In every movie they find a way to shut you down. And I'll be honest. Panic was one of the first ones that I knew of that pointed it out. They all stop at the heart chakra. They never quite make it. The only movie I saw in recent memory that dwelled in the heart chakra, worked on it, and went above, you seen the movie The Shack?
The Shack? Don't recall.
Okay, it's a good movie. It's a heart chakra movie. I'm not going to say it's a chakra story, but it is. But I'm going to say it's a heart chakra movie. Man, so much green in that movie. And what I loved about it, God was a woman in that movie. You know what I'm saying?
That's funny. You said what I loved about it, and green is the chakra color. That was dope.
But you dig what I'm saying?
Yeah, most definitely. It's for me with dream recollection and pulling symbolisms. I think books is what really gave me my leap. I had gotten into a lecture one time, and it was about dreams. I'd always been fascinated by dreams, always. And I've always been like a vivid dreamer. My earliest dream I can remember, there's two. And one dream was where I was with all the kids in the neighborhood, and we were all being bad as hell going through people's shit in the neighborhood. And I remember this dream so vividly and remember like details of other people's houses and stuff. It was just, as a kid, I just, thought of it as, oh man, what a cool dream. I really never focused on it, but as an adult, after doing so much dream research, that was just a real huge experience. Then I had another type dream where I was flying, but I fell off the Ambassador Bridge. The Ambassador Bridge is the one that connects Detroit to Ontario, Canada. And for whatever reason, I was flying above it and lost flight and can remember the feeling of free fall. Mm-hmm. And it was such I remember being startled waking up. I guess you could call it a nightmare, but it wasn't something coming at me as if like a monster that scared me. It was the suspense. And, those are the earliest dreams that I have had. But, man, have I had some very vivid dreams. And I feel like something, the spirit, my subconscious, something was connecting, trying to tell me things for years. And now that I have a grasp on it, it makes a lot more sense. Like when I was a kid, often I would have a feeling where I would wake up and I couldn't move my body at all. It was a hazy feeling, but it would be terrifying. I felt more vulnerable than I'd ever felt in my entire life. I guess they would call it the devil's riding your back or something like that, and that even made me more scared of it. Like, what are you talking about, the devil's riding my back? I was raised Christian, full Christian. Like my parents had me in church on the Sunday, on the Monday, on the Wednesday program, like for years. So anytime I had any kind of question about anything, they, the deepest I'd ever gotten with anybody was my Holy Spirit connecting with me. And I was like, well, that, it sure is a real, real terrifying experience. Doing research, diving in, figuring different things out, finding out that, that feeling was a positive feeling. I was just scared. It reflected on things that I needed to work on myself as a kid or, even through adolescence. I've really found it now that, it's a story. Like you said, it's almost like when you decode movies, when you decode dreams, decoding anything. The more clear, the more intention, like, for instance, if you don't have intentions to remember your dreams, usually you won't remember them. I know that for a long time. I go through ruts. For instance, I'll go through a period of time, like right now, I'm having very vivid dreams. And I'll do a lot of my dream journals. I'll do, if I want to recall dreams, I do a lot of potassium. I've had talked to a lot of people who deal with dreams and been a part of a lot of groups where they say the more bananas you can eat, the better off you'll be at dream, recollection. Like you said, the more you can meditate, any kind of meditation really. Most mornings, what I like to do is I wake up incredibly early for, I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, my time. And my alarm will go off at 3:55 or 4:05, somewhere in there. And I'll lay there in bed and I'll try to remember every detail of my dream as much as I can, or try to at least stay into that hazy feeling where you're tired but you're awake.
Mm-hmm.
That is an amazing time right there to try to get any kind of real dream work in and any kind of real dream recollection or anything that I could remember during that time at all. Like the first thing I thought about in the morning, if I don't dream, I'll write down the first thing I thought about, whether it be bills, whether it be, work, whether it would be doing something with the family. And then I would focus on that throughout the day. And I'll go back and look and say, oh, okay, the first thing I thought about this morning was bills. All right, I need to not be worrying about, that's nothing to worry about. Or the first thing I thought about this morning was hanging out with my stepson. We're going to go do something this weekend. We're going to go camp out. It'll let me know, well, then I'm in more of a humbling, happy place. If I'm waking up and the first thing I'm thinking about is bill money, if I'm thinking about, negativity, if I'm thinking about jumping right on my cell phone, lets me know where I am in a space. And my mood and how I handle things throughout the day will reflect a lot of times. So dreaming will let you know a lot of stuff. It'll really open you up. It was the biggest connection that I had with the self, and it's what helps me along my journey to know that I'm on the right path. Because everyone dreams no matter what. If I've ever had a question about anything religious, I never had an answer. But no matter what, everyone dreams, no matter what. And that's the biggest proof of anything, because most scientists can't even tell you about dreams. They have an idea, but you're not going to find out anything about dreams. It's all about the self. The more you find out about the self, the more you connect to the dreams. It was really interesting that you said, you mentioned something about it's always continuing. A shared experience I had with mushrooms here a while ago. It was a real psychedelic experience, and something that I had stumbled across was a documentary on psilocybin and how it works with the hippocampus in the brain. And the guy said you should wake up in the morning on an empty stomach and you should try mushrooms. And you should sit in a room with your eyes open, dark room with nothing in there, and understand visions and see visions. And I can tell you from personal experience, that's some of the most profound things I've ever gone through ever. I've connected with more ancestors that way. I've connected with all sorts of entities. I've gone and I've been able to understand all kinds of things and walked with an experience just feeling an overwhelming satisfaction, like, man, I really connected with some stuff rather than, doing them, drinking and partying. I mean, if that's your thing, by all means. But if you utilize these things and, you go at it with the intentions of into discovery, more into yourself, I think you're really going to find out that the illusion of death, the fear of a lot of this stuff that people stress about a lot of times is just not worth it. It's just, you don't have to stress about a lot of stuff, and it's easier said than done a lot of times. It's something that can be practiced, but I don't want to ramble on. But I definitely agree with you.
I want to say something, Gene, because you touched on something I want to speak on. When you spoke about the illusion of death, one of the few things that we got to realize is we're living this life just to die. We came back to do work. That's why everybody died. And if you realize it, everybody, when we lose somebody personal, we can see Triple X Extension just died. Everybody had opinion on it. But it really didn't touch us personally if he wasn't like somebody you knew or felt a connection to.
Right.
And what I want to say is the fear of death stops us from working. So a lot of times what I do is I got in the habit, I want to say that it was Samuel Ayunweor. He that's one of the authors I read a lot. Samuel Ayunweor. I read a lot of his books. He has one, Dream Yoga, Kundalini Power. I forget the name. I got the book in here. I'll go find it and I'll read up the title. But his name is Samuel Ayunweor. And what I got in the habit of doing was, and it helped me in terms of dealing with death in this life. When I go to sleep at night, I got into what's known as the corpse pose. You place your hands over your heart chakra, your hands crossed on your chest, like you laid in the coffin. And a lot of the times what stops us from remembering dreams, we spoke on it earlier. The dream world is directly connected to what most people call heaven. When you die, if you're not doing the work, you go to the dream. So if you want to go to that next level, you got to master that. You have to. And getting over that fear of death is one. So what I got in the habit of doing, and I tell anybody that asks me, every night I practice down. Every night I go to sleep. Because imagine, I'll tell you something real quick. I have a close family member. She was recently diagnosed with cancer, stage 4.
I'm sorry to hear that, brother.
You know what? I'm going to be honest. Like I just said, unless it touches you personally, it doesn't bother you. I cried real tears just last night. However, I was talking to her. She's not on no occult or metaphysical. I suggested she researched doctors to be. But either way, I just did the best I could to tell her, your spirit is going to determine when you leave here. Because we come here with work to do. Whether you die at 3 months old or you die at 100 years old, you came here with work to do. And you're not going to leave until your work is done. I'm starting to believe, though, that if you're not doing your work, then you leave sooner. But the point I want to make is we got to get in the habit of either going in meditation or before you go to sleep, you focus on what you're afraid of. You run towards what you're afraid of. And death is the main thing everybody's scared of. You know, everybody want to go to heaven, but nobody want to die. Every night you practice dying. Now, in the Kemetic scriptures, in the Kemetic text, on the walls and the pyramids of Egypt, you notice all they talk about is dying. Every night you go to sleep, it's a little death, because you're in the realm of the dead. Everybody has had a dream where they said, I saw my grandpa, I saw my mama, I saw my auntie. It's the realm of the dead. And if you can't navigate that, you're going to come back. That's another thing. I grew up a Jehovah's Witness, but I'm a firm believer in reincarnation. So I take my meditation and my dreams serious, because if you're not focusing on that, you're going to come back. You got more work to do. So when we go into these dreams, when we go into meditation, because meditation is just a shortcut to the dream. And I want to talk about that too. I want to go into meditation. I know that at some point we're going to dip on another topic, but I also want to say, don't discount your imagination. The better you can imagine, the better you can utilize that, the easier it is to overcome these fears. Because in every religious text, if you read the Bhagavad Gita, the Quran, the Bible, it doesn't matter what you read. God is a man or a woman, depending on what you read. But God, we cannot conceptualize the Almighty, the true All. We can't. All we can conceptualize is that perfect human. So the closer we get to using our imagination, that's the closer we get to God. So you got to use your imagination. A lot of people say, I don't dream. It's hard for me to meditate. You use your imagination as a shortcut. And that's how, as you go into sleep, you set your mental stage. One of my favorite meditations as I go to sleep, because I'm concerned about finances like everybody else is. I don't want to be a poor righteous teacher. So what I do is I'm going to sleep most nights. I set the stage. It's usually C. Freeman L., Harriet Tubman, Madam C.J. Walker, and I forget who the fourth is. But I have 2 male, 2 female. And I always envision them on the stage, and they get ready to do a lecture. I walk up front. I sit down in the very front row. I break out my paper to take notes. And as I'm sitting there getting ready, one of them usually asks me a question, or I ask one of them a question. And that's how I set my intent to go to sleep. I want to talk about that too. You cannot lay down and go to sleep without asking yourself a question. If you don't ask yourself a question, then you have to at least set the stage to get the answers you want. Now, if you don't want to ask, if you can't think of a question, like I said to you earlier, my question usually is, where's my bag? Where's my money at? Where's my winning lottery number? If I'm not focused on that, then I go to sleep and I focus on sitting down talking to these masters, because the astral realm is our direct link to these people who have passed away. And they're here, a piece of them is still in the astral just to give us the answers we need. Can you imagine, Gene? Can you imagine if you went to sleep and you never remember your dreams, but during your dreams, you were sitting up with Buddha talking about life, or you were sitting up with somebody, Madam C.J. Walker. You sitting up with somebody who succeeded in this earthly realm, but you don't remember nothing? Do you know how often that's probably happening to us? You don't remember nothing. It happened, you just don't remember it. So you set the stage, and you go in that way. So one of the things about setting your intent, even if you don't remember your dreams, you set your intentions when you go into meditation. You have to, because if you're going into meditation just to have an experience, that's not where it's at. That's not where it's at.
I'm glad you touched on that, because you have to be able to ask yourself a question, and if you don't ask a question, you're going to have nothing but chaos. It's just going to be random thoughts, random dreams. You're not going to understand anything or what's going on. You have to be able to ask a question and then be open-minded enough to know that you're guaranteed to get the answer. But it's about your dream recollection. If you don't have good recollection, if you can't practice and meditate and, make it so that you can... Let me see here. Hold on one second. Muting some people here. We got some background. Okay. So you touched on something earlier that I wanted to get back to. You said something about mental time travel. Have you done any kind of time travel meditations at all? Have you touched on any of that stuff at all? Have you?
I'm glad you asked. Yes, I have. Now, I want to give, before I go in, yes, I have. And the thing about mental time travel is you can use it almost in any way you want to. You can go back to an actual memory that you have, and you can revisit that memory. Now, what I did, because I was working on a dream, I went back to a dream. My mother passed away in 1999, and when she passed away, I was living in Colorado. So when she passed away, I had no contact with my siblings, none of them. And the way she passed away, she died from cancer. Actually, I was mad at my siblings. I was mad at my sister and my brother because they didn't even tell me. You didn't tell me my mom was on her deathbed? You didn't tell me? So, my mother died, and I instantly told myself, fuck them. I don't fuck with them no more. I'm done with them. Right? Mm-hmm. So I found myself deep in a dream of talking to my mother. And she was, now mind you, I was living and I'm from California. I'm from Richmond, California, the Bay Area. I was living in Colorado. So at the time when I had the dream, I knew nothing about my sister and my brother's everyday life. Oh yeah. I wasn't there. James.
Yeah.
Okay. So at the time when my mother passed away, I had no contact with my brother and sister. Well, I vividly remember a dream. It felt like I was in a huge auditorium, but me and my mom were sitting down. There was light just over us. The rest was darkness. I was in the chair. She was in the chair. We were separated by about maybe 12 feet. And she was just telling me, stop being hard on your sister because she's going through this, this, and that. Stop being hard on your brother. She's going through this, this, and that. Well, when I woke up from the dream, it touched me. So I called my sister. I called my brother. I never forgot that dream. Well, years later, when I learned about mental time travel, because of the fact that I missed my mom so much, I said, man, I'm not going to use mental time travel on the actual to go back and talk to my mom in that dream. So before I went back to that dream, I went back to other memories and other dreams. Well, eventually I got around to going to that dream, and I had lots of success. Mental time travel, I'm going to look it up right now when we're talking. It's scientists are studying it. There's a name for it. It's real. So before I went back to that dream, I went back to different memories, right? And then I went to the dream. And what happened was I saw something that shocked me, that scared the shit out of me. So I just want to say that when you use the time travel in the dream or in reality from a different memory, you need to be prepared to hear a truth that you might not be ready to hear. Now, what bothered me might not bother you, but it bothered me because I missed my mom. I went back to that dream because I said that dream was my mama. So I went back to that dream, and the thing about mental time travel is you can go back to a memory or a dream, and you can view it from any angle. I mean, any angle. You can go back. I actually have different angles that I view shit. I even have cockroach angles. I'll be a cockroach in the wall watching something. Well, in this dream that I'm speaking of, I went back and I was talking to my mom, and I said, I want to explore around this dream. So while I was talking to my mom, my consciousness was going around the dream. What I saw was it was me sitting there where my mom was talking to myself. For whatever reason, that bothered me. It took me over a year to come to grips with that. Because, like we spoke on earlier, the Kabbalah, the all is mind, the universe is mental. Everything going on right now is in your head. Right now, me and you sharing a conversation, you don't even know, Gene, this could be a dream, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%. I agree. You could wake up and understand that all of this is a dream. It's No, you're right. But what bothered me was I needed that dream to be my mom. So when I was exploring that dream during mental time travel, and I saw that it was myself talking to myself, but I want to get back to something. Everything my mom told me in that dream, even though I was several states away, was true. And I'm telling you that I had zero contact with my sister, zero contact with my brother. But my mom was telling me, your sister, her youngest son just went to jail, the oldest son going through this. I had zero contact with him. So, you know, being the culture, the metaphysics, I took that dream as being profound beyond anything else. But to go into mental time travel and see that it was me talking to me, that fucked me up. And I had a problem with it for years. So what happened was I stopped practicing mental time travel. But I want to just get back on the topic that mental time travel does work. It's a valuable tool. I'm back on it now. And the thing about mental time travel is it'll give you all the answers you're looking for. You just got to be ready for the answers. Have to be ready for the answers.
Got to be ready for the answers because you might see something you ain't ready for. And again, it might not mean nothing to you, but it's going to definitely mean something. You know, somebody else might say, oh, man, why that? I got a real good friend of mine. He's into metaphysics. One of the few people I know in real life that I talk to and we be around each other that's into this. I told him what happened, and he was like, oh, man, that ain't nothing. Man, I was still shook. So the thing I'm saying is mental time travel definitely does work. And it's a tool to be used. And the only thing you got to do is like setting your intention. I did it in meditation. I didn't do it going to sleep. I was in meditation. Okay. I focused on the dream. Even if you only remember a piece of the dream, you don't got to remember the whole dream. Just a piece. You focus on that piece of the dream, and to be honest, you freestyle from that point. You can imagine what might have happened, what should have happened, what you wanted to happen, but you focus on that piece of the dream, and you go back. But the key is your imagination. A lot of times we go into meditation, and we wait for the experience to happen to us, right? Now, I'm not suggesting that you insert ego, because ego interrupts with the dream. So you got to reach that point in your personal meditation where you put your ego to the side, because your ego, you don't kill the ego. The ego just got your back, and he's just doing it all wrong. So the ego ain't to be killed or destroyed. You just want the ego to get on the right track. So what you do is you go into meditation. You focus on. I used it for a dream. I have used it on memories, but it was more powerful in dreams for me. And this is especially good for people who never remember dreams. You go back to a dream that you always remembered, and then once you go back to it, you focus on it. And the key is, I got to say this, the key to mental time travel, you have to be in that state where you're sleepy and drowsy but not going to sleep. So you got to get in the habit of keeping your mind active while your body goes to sleep. That's what meditation is for most people. You get into that sleepy state, but you don't go into that dead, dreamless state. So you get to that point, and it takes practice. Okay, I got one more thing I want to share real quick, G. I don't want to hog the mic. I don't want to hog the mic.
You're good.
Okay. When I first started getting into heavy meditation, which for me was about 4 or 5 years ago, when I got real heavy into meditation, I started off because chakras was my introduction point. So I would meditate. I would envision my body. At the time, I couldn't envision my physical body, my skin tone, clothes. It was always like, at the time, I know it now, it was my diamond body. It was a body, it looked like glass, but it wasn't. I could see the reflections. It was a diamond body. So I would lay there like I was on the table. I was around blackness, and it was a triangle. And the triangle would scan my body. And so from my feet, it would be red. And then when it got to my genitals, it would start turning orange. And then from there, it would turn to yellow and then, all the way up. Well, I would do this every day. Well, it got to a point to where it was automatic. I would fall into that deep meditation. I would scan my body. Any hurts or pains I felt, if my foot hurt, if my knee hurted, if my hip hurted, I would scan that part. And what I would do is I would envision, if it was in the root chakra, it would be red, but would have a little bit of black and maybe some other colors in it. And I would scan my body with this color. But one day, doing my regular, I was in the habit of, this was my meditation routine. I said to myself, well, what's in this blackness? What's around me? So I pulled my consciousness back from that diamond body. And that's what you would have to do. Because when we're in the dream and the meditation, if you realize a lot of times you can switch easily from first person to second person to third person. It can be you experiencing something. It could be you watching yourself experience something, or you could be somebody else watching yourself experience something. So what I did was I pulled my attention back from the diamond body. Know what I saw, G?
What'd you see?
Man, I saw a fucking scorpion. The triangle that was scanning my body was the end of the scorpion's tail. So I'm going to tell you the truth. I panicked. It was a big black scorpion. I said, what the fuck? But I was so deep in my meditations, I didn't wake up. But I told myself, I'm a sci-fi guy. I said, force field. So I was in like a little tube, a glass tube, and the scorpion was crawling around the tube, and I was like, what the fuck is this? I'm going to fast forward. When I came to, instead of just telling myself I was in meditation, it was some weird shit, I broke out my book of deity. I have an excellent book by Judith Illis, The Encyclopedia of Spirit, The Ultimate Guide to Magic, Fairies, Genies, Demons, Ghosts, Gods, and Goddesses. I broke it out and I said, scorpion. I saw a fucking scorpion. So what got me over my initial fear was, hold on. If this triangle that's been scanning my body and healing me was good, then that scorpion can't be bad. I come to find out it was Serket, the Egyptian goddess, right? So from doing my research on Serket, something hit me in meditation. Guess what? Guess what it was, G?
What's that?
Serket means circuit, like technology. Circuit. So I started pouring libations in Serket and started talking to her. I made her a part of my everyday. I came to the ultimate realization for myself. I realized, number one, the internet and computers is not new. It's old. Everybody, not everybody, but we should be familiar with the web of vices, right?
Yeah.
Well, what is the internet called? The World Wide what?
Web.
So I said, wait a second. If Serket means circuit, and circuits are in computers, the World Wide Web, so I took it a few steps further, I added me a triple goddess. And my triple goddess is consistent of Serket. I added Neat, because Neith is the Kemetic deity of spiders and webs, and I added Isis because, of course, the veil of Isis is the web, right?
Mm-hmm.
From there, my mind exploded, and I tell it to anybody that asks. We all know the saying: "There's nothing new under the sun." Nothing new. So what makes you think computers and the internet is new? Right? Maybe it was accessed in a different way, but there's nothing new about it. I even had
It's always been there.
Always been there. We've accessed it. It's been accessed since time immemorial. So what I started doing was, if I wanted an answer to a question, this is before I got good at asking myself this in a dream. If I wanted an answer to a question, I would get at my triple goddess, meditate, go online and find it. Right? Just that easy.
Right.
So the same thing in terms of setting your intent for the dream, it applies to meditation too. The same thing. It applies. So I found myself, I started to explore more and more from that aspect. And that's where I got to the point of, I do not go to sleep without asking myself a question. I don't care how frivolous. Who is Godzilla? That's something I ask a lot, because I know that Godzilla is a representation of Kundalini energy. Right?
Oh, yeah.
So
I like that.
you know what I'm saying? So I ask myself any question. The only thing I would say is the question has to be important to you. You know? So I'm focused on chakras. Man, who is Godzilla? And even if I forget the question that I asked myself, even if I forget, I find myself during the day researching, looking up stuff, and it never fails. I say, oh, it's the answer to my question. And like I said too, as we go into sleep, you gotta envision the people you love, teachers. I don't care if you're on some Christian shit. A lot of people scared of the Bible. Fuck Jesus. No. You can talk to Jesus, anybody in the Bible, anybody you want information from the Quran. You know, I was asking my partner, man, who told Muhammad the motherfucking 110th name of God? Huh? It was a motherfucking donkey. It was a donkey. In the Quran, it was a donkey that gave Muhammad the extra name of God. So you can channel anything. One of the few things I do, I'm glad I said channel. One of the few things I do is I don't channel the obvious shit. I don't try to talk to Prince. I don't try to talk to Michael Jackson. But me, I look at images. I might see an image of a statue, and I talk to statues. Because if you think about it, Michelangelo's David has been around for centuries. What you know, pimp? I'm going to talk to you. I love dinosaurs as a kid. So I like to go in. I like to talk to. I channel different things than everybody else because I don't want it. One of the main things I tell myself is I want information that nobody got. I want old information. So old, so ancient, it's been forgotten. So one of the main things you want to do is we have to realize that right now, the age that we're in, the age of Aquarius, we're setting the stage for future generations. You know, the Bhagavad Gita is like 6,000 years old. And anybody can go online and you can break down any parts of the Bhagavad Gita. It's not the same with the Bible. The Bible is only 2,000 years old. So what I want is ancient information. And I'm going to tie that into something else in meditation and the dream. In meditation, I did past life regression. When I wanted to see my past lives. And I saw some things that kind of disturbed me, but I had to come to grips and decode it at least 3 different ways. Because any dream you have, you should be able to decode it 3 different ways. So for me, it was something that I saw a recurring theme in all my dreams. All my past life meditations, I saw a recurring theme, and it helped me out a lot. Because for me, I feel like I'm a servant. I do. don't mean that in a bad way. I don't mean like I'm the butler. But I found that in a lot of my past lives, I always felt obligated to help and to do things for other people. So I just applied that. I just applied all of that to this current incarnation because I do believe in reincarnation. I do. You know, and we all come here with work to do. And we were talking earlier, and I was just saying to you that you could die in 3 months or you could die in 300 years. It just depends on whether you're getting your work done, you know, or whether you're working on the right path. If you're not working, then it's time for a do-over. But I don't want to hook up too much time on the dream. I know we're supposed to go on to another topic, but the main thing I do want to say before we get off the topic of dreams is supplement. I want to say real quick. For those who don't remember their dreams, who think they don't remember dreams, the only thing stopping you from your dreams is you're lacking these certain minerals within your body. We're all born 9 months of the calendar, but we have 12 months of the calendar, so it's a good chance you're missing those 3 months, everybody. Even if you was a preemie, if you was born in 7 months, then that just means that you're missing 5 months. Each month is dedicated to a different cell salt. There's a good book by Dr. George Carey and Inez Perry, Zodiac Cell Salt, and you find out that there's different minerals that should be taught to us in elementary, but they don't give it to us. Only thing I want to say is it's called George Carey, Zodiac Cell Salt. That book will get you on the path of realizing what you got to add to your life, because we're born, there's a symbol. It's a religious symbol. It's a wheel with 9 spokes, and the 9 spokes are covered in a connected circle. There are 3 spokes that aren't connected by the circle. So what that's saying is you're missing those 3 months of your gestation in your mom's womb. And for a lot of us, we're just missing those minerals. It might be vitamin D. It might be lysine. There's something we're missing that's making us incomplete on a physical level. Now, on a spiritual level, those 3 missing spokes, they represent 3 degrees. Now, me and you know those 3 degrees would be something else. I want to get into that. I want to say in terms of supplements, a lot of people are afraid of melatonin. I get it. Bobby Hemmett and so many other people said don't do melatonin, but I personally have the position of anything I'm afraid of, I run towards. I take melatonin about every other night, and it helps me to get into that zone in the dream. Melatonin, I have 3 milligram doses. Some nights I take 1. Some nights I take 2 or 3. It depends. I also take Unisom sleeping pills. If I really want to go in, I take it. But for the most part, you don't need supplements. You don't. But if you don't remember dreams, then there's a good chance that these supplements are missing. Another supplement I take is 5-HTP. It's a good supplement for lucid dreams. And a lot of these supplements, you can find them online or at a health store, and they have them combined. And it's worked wonders for me. Now, for others, if it doesn't resonate with you, don't listen to what I'm saying, throw that shit out the window, and I don't want to argue with you, but it works for me. Another supplement I take is Yohimbine, Yohimbine. It's another dream supplement that I take in combination with galantamine. Galantamine is like Gokeet biloba. It helps you focus and recall, which is something everybody wants in a dream. Everybody had a dream where I only remember the snake, I remember the tree, I remember the purple house. Well, if you take Yohimbine with galantamine, it increases your Yohimbine increases your lucidness, and galantamine gives you that recall. I recently realized that when you take these supplements, it's just as important as taking the supplement. So what I've been doing lately over the last 2 to 3 weeks, and I took your advice too, Gene, I drink a bunch of water before I go to bed, because from I believe it's from 9 p.m. till 3 a.m. in the morning, Eastern time. Your body's releasing melatonin. So I take my melatonin pills before bed. I drink a bunch of water. I usually wake up about 3 in the morning. And when I wake up at 3 in the morning, I go and I take my 5-HTP, my Yohimbine, and Melatonin. I don't overdo it. I take the regular dosage. And what I also do is I space it out. I let that shit come out my system. So I don't do every day unless I'm focused on something. I usually go every other day. But if you take that, lay back down to bed, I can guarantee you're going to have a very vivid dream. And once you get in the habit of taking those pills, when I wake up to go take my pills, I recall at least one dream that I was having before I would take the pill. And then when I wake up in the morning, I recall 1 or 2 more dreams. Towards I'm at the point now where I record about 2 or 3 dreams a morning. So,
wow.
Supplement. I just want to speak on supplement. You can do your own research. Go on Google. Go on Amazon. I buy all my shit online. But go online. I have a real good book. I got to pull it up when I get a chance. I have a real good book. A guy, he talks about combining the supplements. I'll pull it up, and I'll give you the title to the author before we get off. But supplements help, especially for the people who say, I never dream. Now, those who dream all the time, those minerals and those supplements obviously are present in your body. But for those who don't, it's very necessary. And it works for me. Again, if you don't want to use melatonin, if you don't want to do whatever, no sleeping pills, I can dig it. But for me, I've seen excellent results. So to where when I wake up and I can write down 3 different dreams in the morning, I won. Now, I got to say, like we said in the beginning of the show, Gene, it always comes down to patience and consistency. You got to be patient. My first year of my dream journal, it was whack. I'm going to be honest. It said nothing. I probably recorded maybe 5 or 6 dreams, and I fell off. But when I got consistent, and you also I got to say this too, before we get to the topic. When you wake up in the morning, you got to give yourself a chance to just lay there and recall the dream. Because usually in Western society, we so used to just waking up and getting to our day. Let me get up, brush my teeth, go to work, piss, shit. No. Give yourself, and for me, it took time to where I would wake up and lay there and say, what was I dreaming about? I want to share one more thing, Gene, before we switch topics. One of my best dream recalls, I woke up, let me say this too. One of the things I do when I wake up at 3 in the morning, if I have some alcohol, I take a shot. One shot. I ain't trying to get drunk, but you want to get that buzz to get in that zone. So I got in the habit of either brown and white or just white. For me, it's the gin. I like gin. So I usually get some gin, 1 shot, I lay down, and what I tell myself is, straight up, run that last dream back. But you got to say it like you mean it. Have you ever, everybody has a movie they love rewatching. And you can imagine that feeling of rewatching a movie that you love, that you can never get tired of watching. That's the feeling. You got to capture that feeling. So when I tell myself, run that dream back, I imagine that I'm watching The Matrix or some movie that I can watch 1,000,000 more times. And one of the most powerful dreams I had, I tell myself, run that last dream back, and I ended up raising my kundalini for the first time, consciously. And in the dream, it was all blue, and there was a rock structure, and my mind was telling me I gotta get rid of this rock. So I was trying different shit, and my mind finally said vibrate. So I put my hand in the rock, and short story, even shorter, I vibrated on the rock. 2 serpents came out of the rock and shot directly into the sky. Something in me said, grab the serpent's tail. I grabbed it. I rolled my kundalini. As I did more and more research, I found out that everything I saw has been recorded before. the serpents each had a clear diamond in their forehead. And I remember jumping from serpent to serpent. I was inside the diamond and this and that. But at some point, I'll be honest with you, I let my ego came in and I got afraid because it was traveling so fast and I was seeing so much. But the bottom line is all this can be accomplished through dream recall. You wake up and you don't think you remember nothing. You lay right back down, get in that zone, and you tell yourself, run that dream back. Even if you don't remember, because your subconscious is a silent observer. Been there from day one, knows everything, and it's going to give you what you're ready to see. I know people like Alex Winzel on Facebook. To me, he's one of the naturals. We talk a lot on Facebook, and he constantly tells me about dreams, and I know he's a natural. You know, once you do the work, that's another thing. You know people who's working, you know who's not working. But the bottom line is set your intentions, and it's all about that feeling. Just like when you get that buzz, you're drinking some beer, you're drinking some alcohol, you're smoking some weed, everybody knows that feeling. If you can recapture that feeling, dream recall gets a lot easier. But that's basically all I want to talk about in terms of dreams. So, Gene, we can transition over at this point unless you got something else you want to talk about.
Well, yeah, I was going to touch on just really quick on the mental time travel. One of the things that I did with mental time travel works for me really well. Well, two things is music and smell. I have a perfume of my mother's. I've got some perfume of my grandmother's, and if I spray perfume, I'm like back at Christmas, back in 1995. You know, I can be there, you know, immediately. There's certain songs I can hear that put me right back into that mindset of being a kid again in the 90s. You know, it depends. There's been times I'll have a long drive, and I'll say, you know, I'm feeling kind of down about something, so I'll go ahead and tune in on, like, you know, the greatest hits of, like, the 90s. Hey, man, you know, hearing some of those old songs, you know, some of the stuff I grew up listening to, like one of my favorite songs ever, California Love, Tupac and Dr. Dre. I can hear that song anytime, anywhere. It's going to put me in a good mood. It's going to let me know where I was the first time I heard that song.
Exactly.
Certain fragrances I can smell. Fragrance is really important with me, you know. I can smell aftershave. I can smell even some certain deodorants, to be honest with you. I'll catch a whiff of and be like, man, okay, that's what my grandfather used to wear. Okay, I remember when I was in the bathroom as a kid at his house, and, you know, he was shaving and he put the aftershave on. That's stuff, you know, that's one way of mental time travel that I utilize. But like you said about your way of mental time travel, that was really interesting. That's a practice that I would like to get into. About my dream journal that helped me recall dreams a lot. I know a lot of people struggle with this. When I would write down as much detail as I possibly could. I mean, as much detail as I possibly could. I would notice as I would go along, I would notice as I would go and write things down, I wouldn't have a large portion of the dream I would remember. I would remember a small, like, little chunk. So I would write down, for instance, I seen the guy on the motorcycle. It was sunny outside. The reflection from the bike was, I could see that the sun was hitting it. You know, the color of the was black. The hair was this. I would write down every little detail, even if I couldn't make the symbolism out of it. And then I would notice as I'd go along, I would notice even more and more and more, and to the point where I didn't even have to keep a dream journal anymore. I could just sit back, lay down, and I could recall everything that was, I mean, like as a meditation when I lay, you know, when I'm waking up in the morning. So it was I just wanted to touch on those and correlate with what you had already said, but yeah, let's change the pace of topic here. We discussed earlier that there's some significant view that we found out the other day. Mike, do you have any noise in the background on your end?
Yeah, it's me. My nephew here. He's slapping.
Okay, no problem. We're both Well, I'll go ahead and let you go into it because you wanted to go into that topic for this evening. So go ahead and we'll switch over. We'll switch gears on the topic of Freemasonry.
Okay, I want to say one thing before we go to that is that recalling your dreams. At some point, the dream journal does become pointless. Once you get to that point where you know for a fact you recall your dreams, even if it's portions. The key is from dreams you want to go to lucid dreams because a lot of times in the dream you find yourself being a participant. You can't change nothing. You're just going along with a script that you didn't write. So once you get to the point where you just got to tell yourself, man, I'm dreaming right now. That's why during the day you do reality checks. The best thing to do is during the middle of the day, tell yourself, man, I'm dreaming, and try to jump and fly. Because in a dream, you're kind of weightless. And even if you say, man, I'm in a dream, you do something to remind yourself you're in a dream. But the more details you remember, the better you become at lucid dreaming. And lucid dreaming is where it's at. Because if you're in the lucid, sometimes you'll ask somebody a question, and they'll just be an automaton. That's a mundane dream. Other times you ask somebody a question, and you'll get a powerful answer. So you got to get to that point to where you're not just experiencing the dream. You don't want to take your ego. You want to tell your ego, go to bed, lay down, go to sleep. You want to get that raw, real experience. So sometimes when you get in a dream and you get in the habit of telling yourself, am I dreaming? Is this a dream? And you start asking questions, your dream goes to the next level. Now, my personal belief is it's dreams, lucid dreams, and then astral travel. So you might think that you're just having a dream and you go lucid. Once you're lucid, you can say, you know what? I don't even want to talk to this motherfucker no more. I'm out. And what I found was a lot of times you got to be patient because I would be lucid and I would be so excited to be lucid, I get kicked out and I wake up. I'm real focused on Kabbalah, so sometimes I would sit and I would see the different planets in the Kabbalah, and I would sit in front of the sun and I would say, man, fuck the sun, I'm going straight to Kepler, I'm going to the top. And I would jump into that sphere and I would get kicked out of the dream. So a lot of it is just telling yourself, realizing that you are in the astral, because the dream is the astral, realizing that you are in the astral, and then patiently you wait for that spot where you can dip out and say, I'm out. And that's where you get your real answers because I think it's in Joseph Campbell's book, The Hero with 1,000 Faces. He says in that there are no strangers in the dream. Usually somebody you see in the dream, even if it looks like a stranger, is usually somebody you saw or met before and just don't remember. But a lot of times...
it's a familiar feeling.
Exactly. But sometimes it might be a deity you're talking to. So that's when you wake up and say, I was talking to a bum with 2 dogs. And you look in your books and say, that was Papa Legba. You know what I'm saying? So once you get in the habit of identifying the mundane dream versus the lucid versus when you in that realm, you got to do that. You got to. So that's why I stress dream journal to anybody because you got to get to that point to where you can distinguish the mundane dream where you're stressing about bills and my girl tripping and I think this broad is pregnant. You gotta progress beyond that. So I would just say that the key to that is the dream journal. You get in the habit of keeping that dream journal. You go over it, and these people, because I was obsessed with the great Mother Zedekiah. I've channeled C. Freeman too many times to count, and all he talks about is the great Mother Zedekiah. So I said, I want to meet her. But I had to come to the realization that Zedekiah is just the zodiac, right? The zodiac is a Greek word. That's why I say get a book of etymology, because you got to understand the language. Zodiac is a Greek word for circle of animals. But we know that the sky is jet black. So the great mother, you follow the progression, and for you, it's going to be different than it was for me. But you get in the habit of decoding your own dreams. And like you said, remembering every detail. The bike was blue. The backpack was orange. The cell phone was black. You get in the habit of that, and you get better at it. I want to transition. I know we've been on these dreams for a minute, but yes, I am a master mason. And like I told you before, I'm almost hesitant to speak about masonry because it has a very negative connotation. A lot of people think of masonry as being something old white men do when they're trying to rule the world. You know, they think of Montgomery Burns from The Simpsons, you know. It's something that even white people, you know, I mean, keeping it real. Keeping it real.
Right, no,
you know,
I agree.
So it has a real negative connotation. But what most people don't realize is that Freemasonry has existed at every stage of human development. And that's why Freemasonry consists of symbols. That's all it is symbols. And for me, prior to joining, I had no idea. I was one of those ones, too. I thought Freemasonry was an old white man's club. So I was uninterested. I met somebody that was a Mason. I started asking questions. But to be honest, I was totally unconcerned. I had no interest in joining. So when I did finally say, man, yeah, I want to see what's up with that. And I'll be honest, I'm a reader. I love reading. So in my mind, these old wicked white dudes got some library of books that I never read. That's what I thought. So I did go through. I joined. I was initiated, passed, and raised. And I'll be honest with you. Initially, I was disappointed. I was very disappointed because I met these dudes, and at the time when I joined Freemasonry, I was heavy into Kemetic deity, heavy in the Kemetic deity. So for me, going to a Masonic lodge, and they talking about Jesus, I was like, man, get the fuck out of here. You know, Jesus is Heru. But once I got past my ego, I saw that it was some science in there. And what I want to say is, prior to joining Freemasonry, like I said, I dreamed maybe once or twice a year that I remembered that was worthy of speaking to somebody about it. But once I started going through that Masonic ritual, and it's going to be different for everybody. And I got to say this too. Everybody don't need it. I was saying to you earlier that the average occultist knows more than the average Freemason because, in all honesty, Panic said it. Masons ain't nothing but Christians with hand signs. They ain't Christians. A lot of them are. A lot. I'm going to say the majority. But the thing about Freemasonry, what you got to realize, and Gene, you'll feel me on this, Freemasonry refers to the beehive, right?
Yeah.
And the thing about the beehive, what you got to remember is every beehive has to have a certain amount of numbers of drones. A drone is a bee that don't do shit. We all know that bees supposed to be about making that honey and all that shit, but every beehive has to have a certain number of drones. And what most people don't know is if a beehive has too many drones, they drag the motherfuckers out to die. So the thing about Freemasonry is, yes, it's like the rest of life. There's going to be hella drones in that motherfucker. But for me, when I went through that ritual, man, wasn't no babies getting sacrificed. I'm a Prince Hall Mason. So for me, it was a majority black thing, right? And that surprised me in and of itself. But it's something about that ritual that's going to activate your subconscious. And again, you don't got to join no lodge. If your spirit tell you, by all means do it. But if your spirit don't tell you, you don't got to do it. All this shit is online. You can go right now and Google Freemason ritual. It'll tell you everything to do. You can read it and perform that ritual in your mind, and you can get the same activation. For me, I joined, I went through that, and it activated something inside of me. I immediately started dreaming. But the thing was, what got me on the track was my dreams were different. But usually I dreamed about mundane, everyday shit. I started having dreams like, I'll tell you one vivid dream I had when I was being initiated, my first step in Freemasonry. I would have a recurring dream of it was a rocky, violent ocean. The waves rocking, going high, and there was a yellow banana that was undisturbed by the motherfucking waves. I'll be honest with you, I still haven't decoded that motherfucker, but it stuck with me because I said, hold up, this is a different dream. And then I started to realize, I started doing more and more research, and I said, man, I need to go deeper in meditation. So I taught myself how to drop into a meditation trance easy. That's what I taught myself. Now, for that, everybody has their own hack because whatever you're experiencing is unique to you. So you got to figure out what's unique to you. You got to hack your own brain. So for me, I found out how to get there. And my first powerful experience, I'll tell you, Gene, I was at a Masonic meeting. I was performing the ritual, and to be honest, I was an officer of the lodge, so I had duties to perform. But I told myself, I'm going to drop into meditation during this meeting because there's a lot of energy in those meetings. And most people, I'm going to be dead honest, most people leave those meetings, they get a kundalini rush like they're in church. They feel good but don't know why. And I used to wonder why after those meetings, that motherfuckers be horny. They be wanting to go fuck. Most brothers be leaving the meetings like, man, I'm going to go either fuck my wife, my girl, or I'm going to fuck my side piece. So I used to wonder about that because my wife, who was my spiritual protection, she was to be on me. And she didn't know nothing about that, but she would be like, after the meetings, bring your ass home. But I liked it because I was in the meditation. So I would leave those meetings with that energy, go home, meditate. But what I did was I found out that Baron Samedi, a lot of people familiar with Baron Samedi. Baron Samedi is actually a Masonic deity. He is a 33rd degree Grand Master Mason, and all voodoo Masonic spirits answer to Baron Samedi. So when I found that out during a meeting, I dropped into meditation. Now everybody around me told me later, man, you fell asleep during the meeting. No, I was not asleep. I was deep in meditation. And I'm going to tell you what I saw, Gene. Everybody in that lodge was Baron Samedi. Everywhere I looked around, I saw skulls with a top hat. And, man, I went somewhere. I don't give a fuck what nobody tell me. Baron Samedi showed me a lot of shit that night. And I'll be honest, he remains on my altar. I pour libation out to him on the regular because he reached out to me that night. But I also understand that Baron Samedi is just an aspect of me. And I got to say this before we move on. Every god you know, I don't care if it's motherfucking the Demiurge, H.P. Lovecraft, mythos, any deity you know is just an aspect of you. You don't worship that shit. You worship your motherfucking self, and by worshiping yourself, you worship that deity. So when I access Baron Samedi, which merely means I access a part of my subconscious that resonates with Baron Samedi. So when I accessed him, man, he showed me the motherfucking universe. I was literally, at the time, I was on some Peter J. Carroll shit. And Peter J. Carroll says the only clear view is the top of mountain of your former selves. So at that time, whenever I had a discordant thought, whenever I had a thought that was opposite of being productive, if I had a negative thought, I slayed that motherfucker. And I would find different ways to kill him, explode him, chop his head off, whatever, because you don't belong here. So when I met Baron Samedi during that meeting, man, I was literally in the ether. I saw galaxies, stars, and it was an uncountable number of spirits. But guess what? I was Baron Samedi. I was sitting in the east on that chair, and everybody was looking at me. So, but the point I want to make is, yes, I'm a Freemason. Do I go to meetings anymore? No, I don't, and it's by choice, not by force, because I realized something, that Freemasonry is a birthright. It's a birthright. It's all about symbols, and guess what? The only way your subconscious mind communicates to you is through symbols. So it's just a way of reorganizing your mind, and for me, it was like my subconscious said, oh, you ready to work. Oh, you ready to work. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're doing this, you're doing that. oh, you ready to work. So for me, something blazed online. And I mentioned it earlier about my dreams in Kabbalah. Well, once I went through my Masonic initiation, man, prior to that, I had no idea. I knew nothing about Kabbalah. And like I said, that's what my name on this chat is, the Kabbalah. I started having dreams about these jewels, and they were placed in really specific places. They all had different colors, and it was too specific for me to think that it was random. Turns out it was all Kabbalah. It was all Kabbalah. And most people don't realize it, but Freemasonry is a Kabbalic system of magic. Magic consists of the subconscious mind. That's all it is. Magic is rearranging your thought to match with your true power, which is your subconscious mind, to manifest shit in your daily life. So for me, joining Freemasonry, it was an explosion. I mentioned just a few minutes ago that my wife was my spiritual protection. Well, she helped me, I know it now from looking back, from getting caught up in the mundane aspects of Freemasonry. She wasn't with none of that shit. You ain't going to sell no pancakes on Saturdays. You're not going to all these meetings. You know, and I joined every house that I possibly could. You know, so I'm just saying that to say that what I want to say the most is Freemasonry is not what you think. These people don't get together and plot on taking over the world. They sit down and they argue about pennies and dollars. What most people don't know. They're not focused. Man, they're not focused on nothing going on outside that lodge. They get in that lodge and they get in that lodge and they argue about nothing but petty shit.
Petty
That's
shit.
it. Politics. Most people don't know that. But if you join with the right intentions and you say, I'm going to let this ritual work through me, and you do your work, you'll miss all that bullshit. For me, it was my wife, because she used to be on me. I'd be in the meeting, she'd be blowing my phone up. It ain't over yet. What's going on? I would tell her, well, baby, we're raising somebody right now. What that mean? Bring your ass home. And I appreciate it now. At the time, I didn't, because I wanted to be a part of all that shit. It was new to me. I didn't go to college and join any fraternities. I'm well learned, but it's all self-educated, you know. So for me, I wanted to be a part of it. It was new, it was exciting, and something in me was turned on. But my wife kept me focused, you know. So I would go home. Beautiful thing. So I would go home, meditate, go to sleep, bomb dreams, just like that. And actually, like I was telling you before, I'm working on a book. I got a book on Freemasonry. It's a Masonic document, but I know any occultist or anybody that's deep in the metaphysics, you'll read it and get right to the heart to it. I say it constantly that most of the people that I know of in these Facebook groups, they have more knowledge than the average Mason, because the Masonic emblem is the bee and the beehive. And I just broke down the drone analogy. There's a lot of drones in there, a lot of drones, you know. But I will say this, Freemasonry brought me back to a better appreciation of the Bible. Now, a lot of people will be like, fuck Jesus, fuck the Bible, but that's because most people don't understand that motherfucker. You know, you ask the average person that can say fuck Jesus, man, decode that motherfucker for me. Now, you can decode the Bhagavad Gita, you can decode all these other religious texts, decode the Bible for me. Most people can't. So once I became a Freemason, even though I was anti all that Christian shit, I was able to get to the heart of it. And that's when I started decoding the Bible for myself. And I had no idea that the Bible was a shocking story. I had no idea that the Bible was talking about the deification of man, you know. And I'm not going to give all the credit to Freemasonry, because, like I said, Freemasonry is a birthright. If you draw in breath, when you go to sleep at night and dream, then you should understand symbols. And there's people I've talked to that haven't been initiated and passed or raised at any Masonic lodge, and they have a more deeper and profound understanding than people I know that be 33rd degree Mason, you know. And one of the main reasons why I don't practice Freemasonry today is when I was having these revelations and I was having dreams and meditations, them brothers in the lives wanted to know who was giving you this info. I tell you like this, Gene, it's something you can understand, you can appreciate. I became a Mason. I memorized that whole ritual, that whole book in 90 days. Memorized it.
Wow.
The first thing brothers were saying was, who helped you with this? No, I'm hungry and I'm thirsty. I helped myself to it. And what I would do, and I want to say this ties directly into the topic of dreams. What I did was I got an Android phone. I got a Samsung phone. I got me an app. I got me one of those voice recorder apps. And I would record huge chunks, and I would listen to it. At my job, you could have a Bluetooth in your ear and listen to music. I would listen to the ritual. I would listen to Masonic information, and I would listen to it for 8 to 10 hours a day. Sometimes I would put it on, and I could close my eyes, and I could see my astral self throwing up, like, not this shit again, but yes, this shit again. And the sister C. Marie Long, she just released a book. She wrote a book. It's called The Black Greeks. When I read it, the first thing I said to our inbox, are you an Eastern Star? Eastern Star is the female branch of the
Masonry. Yeah.
She told me no. I was blown away because her book got Masonic symbolism in it. And that's why I say that we call it Masonic. I'm throwing up the quotes in the air. We call it Masonic, but no, it's your birthright. And see, what most people don't realize about Freemasonry, especially if you're not in it, everybody's the widow's son, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, who's the widow, Gene?
The widow, you are.
Nope.
No.
The widow was Isis, Venus, Zodiac, the Zodiac, the Great Mother.
Oh man.
That's who. It's the star. It's the planet Venus. Yes. See, most people look at Freemasonry and say, "Oh, that's a gentleman's club." Freemasonry is a celebration of the feminine, because everybody is who? The widow's son.
Everyone's widow's son.
Now we know that SON is synonymous with SUN, right?
Mm-hmm.
The SUN is in the heavens, and the sun is a part of the zodiac. The zodiac is the Great Mother Zodiac. So, to be honest, for most who's on Egyptology, Kemetic science, that's Isis. Now, you can go through every religion. That female is Ishtar. She's Esther. Ishtar, Isis, Esther. You can go on and on. These great mothers. See, when you go into the dream, you'll always meet. I spoke on The Shack earlier, the movie The Shack, right?
Mm-hmm.
I told you it was a heart chakra movie. What touched me the most was that a woman is God. Because I'll be honest, every book I've read, the farther back you go, it's going to tell you, God is a woman. And I used to always wonder why Bobby Hemmett was so tough on that. Bobby always talked about love, woman. But yes, because everything creative comes from the feminine aspect. Everything creative comes from the woman aspect. So each one of us has our own personal divine great mother. The first great mother to reveal herself to me was Yemaya and Serket. Now, the father is always unknown in Freemasonry. Widow's son. Well, who is the father? It's unknown. That's the all. We can apply that to Kabbalah. In Kabbalah, you have the three emanations above the tree. It's the Ein Sof, and Ein Sof Earth. That's all representative of the father, because the father is unknown. I'll tell you something else that's going to trip you out, and it's still on the subject of Freemasonry. Do you know, have you realized, G, that every superhero is a widow's son? Have you realized that, G?
Okay, now every superhero is the widow's son.
You tell me one superhero whose father wasn't dead. Name one. Come on. Spider-Man was raised by his uncle. Captain America, he was a fucking orphan. You could go on and on and on. The Father is always unknown. Come on. So
yeah, you're right.
That's why I say that the widow's son applies universally. We all the widow's son. And at some point in Samuel Eunweor books, he stresses heavily connecting with your personal great mother. He stresses that. He stresses it. And you'll find, if you pay attention to your dreams, it's going to be a female that pops up on the regular. She's going to help you. I don't care if that female was a child or an old woman or a sexy woman that you want to have sex with. So the same analogy that we apply to dream, to our consciousness, because the masculine is giving. It's gonna penetrate, right? The phallus penetrates. The feminine receives. Do you know that your memory is feminine? Do why I say that? Your memory is feminine because in the Kemetic story of Isis, what did she have to do with Osar? She had to remember him. She had to put him back together. Your memory is feminine. So most of these things we experience are from a feminine aspect. I don't care if you're male, female, bisexual, transsexual. These things have male and female polarity. Now, they say that the feminine is negative and the male is positive. That doesn't mean good or bad. It means receptive versus giving. You know what I'm saying? A phallus penetrates, the vagina accepts. Your mind accepts information. When you go into meditation, when you go into the dream, you experience that. It's being given to you. You're being penetrated. You know what I'm saying? It's a trip.
Yeah, definitely. It is a trip.
I just want to, but take it back to Freemasonry. I'm going to say this. It ain't for everybody. To be honest, if somebody told me they wanted to be a Mason, I would say, no, you don't. You can do it on your own. But everybody's spirit saying something else. Some people need that group experience and they need that initiation. Because I want to say Brother Panic was the one that said it that resonated the most with me. He said, who initiated the first person? He initiated himself. And to me, that's the essence of the Prince Hall story. Prince Hall, I don't want to get into that because I personally don't think that Prince Hall was a real person. Well, he was. It was Benjamin Banneker. But Prince Hall himself is a symbol. He was self-initiated. Yeah, supposedly he got it from some Scottish Rite Europeans during the Civil War. But the basis of that tale, because mythology, directly connected to the dreams, Freemasonry, Prince Hall is a myth. I don't care who you talk to, how much evidence they show you, nobody has proven that Prince Hall actually ever existed. They can't prove it. So he's a myth. Mythology directly connected to your dreams. So we got this person who self-initiated, he strived, he persevered, he did all this stuff. It's directly connected to you, the widow's son. So that's the basis of my book. Number one is that Freemasonry is a celebration of the feminine. It's a celebration of it. If you ask me some questions, I'll answer it, but it's a celebration of the feminine. And I can just say that wisdom dwells in contemplation. There we must seek her. Right? In Kabbalah, it's Kether is knowledge, Chokmah is wisdom, but Na is understanding. Wisdom dwells in contemplation. There we must seek it. Father, mother, son. Knowledge, wisdom, understanding. You dig what I'm saying? So a lot of this stuff has been presented to us in a negative fashion because I got to say this too. Whether you AFAM or FAM, Freemasonry, and I'm going to say this for those who don't know, AFAM, Ancient, Free, and Accepted Mason, or FAM, Free and Accepted Mason, it doesn't matter. They say that Freemasonry began in 1717 in Europe. That's a lie. It stretches back to the beginning of time. The Mayans practiced their form of Freemasonry. In China, they practiced their own form. In Japan, in Africa. This is universal concepts we're dealing with. And you got to take it in context. You can't take it as this some old European white boy shit. No, it's your birthright. It's
no, yeah. In my research, Masonry started in Africa, actually started in Egypt. I mean, in my research, it started. I mean, if you look at the aprons, I mean, and the hieroglyphs, the aprons were, were worn, and I mean, even further, I'm a master mason out of Michigan, and yeah, I'm AM, FM. I agree with a lot we were saying. I would say highly disappointed, but I was disappointed because when I became a Mason, I was expecting so much more, and I became a Mason. I'm like, hey, so what's next? And they're like, oh, business meeting. And I go to the business meeting. I become an officer. I get into the lodge association meetings, and I'm like, man, what are we doing? Like, nobody's discussing anything as far as knowledge. Now, I got connections. You meet people, and that kind of stuff works. The biggest benefit for me out of Masonry is speaking publicly. That was something that I struggled with a bit as a adolescent and growing up. Having to speak openly was something I really, really struggled with. So with Freemasonry, I've learned to overcome that because you have to speak out in lodge. You have to be able to be vocal, especially as an officer. So I get that out of Freemasonry, and I do get brotherhood out of it. I enjoy it. But the myths and the misconceptions behind it are hilarious.
Hilarious.
I'll walk through, where I live, and I'll have like a Freemason ring or my Mason hat or my Masonic shirt on, and you'll get funny looks here and there. And when I see those people that give me the funny looks or will assume that I'm a worshiper, you have to explain this to me. Okay, why on earth? What makes you see devil worship? It's a G in a triangular form. And if I told you, if it's a woman, and if I, this happened before. If I was to say exactly what it was, it would blow her mind. She'd probably be a huge fan of Masonry. If I was to say what that Masonic symbol actually stood for, it would be kind of, amazing. If I told, because some people, if they knew what the G actually stood for, instead of, what they may think, it would really hit home. I did gain some things from Freemasonry, but I was really disappointed. I felt as if there needs to be so much more. There's a lot of structure there, but there was nothing for education amongst the minds in my specific lodge. Now, I don't know what they're doing in bigger cities. I don't know what they're doing in other places. But, it made me want to pursue more information. I joined Masonry so I can get my hands on certain information. And I don't like to comment on things that I don't know 100%. I can't say anything about Masonry at all if I'm not a Mason. I can't touch the subject of not even a little bit. You hear people saying that there's a goat, you ride a goat naked, and there's all these satanic things, and I couldn't take anyone else's word. I had to take my word for it. And for the brotherhood and for a few of the reasons, I do enjoy it. But I was disappointed. I was assuming when I joined up we would have open discussions. I was looking for more thinkers like myself. And I have found a few people along, the metaphysical side of Masonry. But it was a little disappointing. Now, there are appendages of Masonry. There are different, bodies that you can get into that may be a little bit more metaphysical. But for the introduction, I think for the first 3 degrees that you can receive in Masonry, it's a pretty good stepping stone for someone who needs to build confidence, because you have to go in on it on your own. You have to go through the rituals, and you have to go through each degree. You have to put the effort into the learning your parts. You have to, there's a little bit of participation that you have to put into it. I can tell you that I really didn't get my metaphysical journey started until I became master. I didn't get a lot changed for me after I became Master Mason. Speaking to a lot of other Master Masons at Prince Hall, A&M FM, I have talked to a lot of guys, and they say that, things changed for them after they were initiated as a master. So I can't discredit that there's something there that happens for the better, because I don't know anyone in Masonry, myself personally, who struggles and suffers severely. Now, there could be some, for sure, but I have not come across any. And for the most part, Masons are decent people. You have your cliques. You have some of your lodges that are, militant. You have some of your lodges that, are maybe even prejudiced to a certain degree. Excuse me. But in an overall way, I found it to be a welcoming political, little bit of a disappointment.
No, I'm on the same page as you. I told you that when I joined, I thought they had this secret library. I thought that they were going to open up the gates, and I was going like in Pulp Fiction. Remember the movie Pulp Fiction when they would open up that suitcase and that bright light would come out? I had this image in my mind that they were going to give me these books. I tell you, cause I resonate with your disappointment. As soon as I raised, I said, "Where's the library?" So the brother said, "Come on." He took me to a closet. There was a closet that the brothers had converted into an office. A closet. There was maybe 6, 7 books on the shelf. I was very disappointed. But I said, okay, let me get the books. He said, oh, no, you got to read them at the lodge. I said, what? But the brother told me something profound. He said, oh, no, brother, now you got to build your own light. And that's something that in Freemasonry you hear it. You hear a lot in Freemasonry about light. And that brother told me you got to build your own light. So that's when I'm going to backtrack and get back on Freemasonry. Prior to Freemasonry, I had books on various subjects. I've always been a reader, always in a library. But the majority of my books were sci-fi and fantasy. I read Star Wars, mages, wizards. At some point in my 20s, I was convinced I could levitate and move shit with my hands. Never happened. I was very disappointed. But when he said that to me, after a little while, I ain't gonna say a few days, after a few weeks, I got over that disappointment and I started getting a different caliber of books. Because I'll tell you this real quick. After I was raised as a Freemason, after I became a Freemason, a Master Mason, I started astral traveling a lot, and I had no idea at the time. And I would be in my Masonic garb with my gloves on and my apron, and I would climb up this ladder. I was basically going up a throat. I was in a statue, and I would go up to the top of the statue, and I would talk to Manly P. Hall, and he would answer all my questions. We would be talking, and at the time, I had no idea of the significance. I was astral traveling, and I was talking to basically masters of the craft, right? Mm-hmm. And at one point, there was a brother that I fucks with tough, Wally Gordon, and he had told me, I was telling him, man, there's too many books to read, man. I don't got no time to read all these books. He said, you got to start reading the astral, brother. So I said, oh, okay. So one night, I went into the astral, climbed up the ladder. I was in the astral. And at the time, I didn't realize it was Manly P. Hall because it would be in black and white. And the dude that I was talking to, he had a real old school look. Looked like the 50s or 60s, black and white. And that night, I set my intention and I said, I had never read Crowley's Libra 777. So I said, yeah, I'm going to channel Aleister Crowley, and he's going to download that fucking book into my conscience. So I went to the dream. I didn't know who this dude was. I actually thought it was Aldous Huxley. I thought that's who it was. But I found out later from looking at pictures and images and reading, it was Manly P. Hall. So I saw the Libra 777, and I said, because I speak in today's terms, I said, download this book into my mind. And he told me it don't work like that. And I'm like, what? Get the fuck out of here. Download this book into my mind. Well, he called me something that fucked me up. He called me a netter. He would constantly refer to me as netter. So if I was asking questions, he would say, well, netter. And I thought it was another term for nigger. so I was offended by it. But as I did more and more research, I realized what he was calling me. In Kemetic terms, in Kemetic science, the language is called Medu-Neter. Medu-Neter is the word of God. He was calling me the word. You know what I'm saying? So, so it took me years to realize this. But the point I'm making is, once I was raised, something activated. Once I became a master mason, something activated in my mind. I'm going to constantly say it. Everybody don't need that initiation. Everybody don't got to go through that. If you can go online, read it, it's all about your visualization and your imagination. If you can go in there, read it, and you can absorb that information, you don't need it. But for whatever reason, at that time, I did need it. And what happened for me was I started back going over old Bobby Hemmett lectures, and I had a whole new profound understanding of it. I was very disappointed with Freemasonry. And I said it before, and I'm going to say it now. Let me say this. You look at Freemasonry, and I'm speaking to those who might be Freemasons like yourself, you see it's devoid of color. Have you noticed that? There's no color in Freemasonry. When I say color, I mean chakra colors. The houses have colors. You have your blue lodge, your red house, your purple house. You got your red house. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, in the actual ritual, color is never mentioned. But I start to realize that, wait a second, this is a chakra story. The Blue Lodge, where you join Freemasonry, most people don't realize it, but you start to experience new things in your life. If you have a job, you're liable to get a raise real quick. People at your job start to take more notice of you. Hey, you know, there's something about you. The reason being is the Masonic Lodge is referred to as the Blue Lodge. Blue Lodge is your throat chakra. You're very vocal in your Blue Lodge. You know that. From through all 3 degrees, you're very vocal, very vocal. What you do is you perfect that throat chakra, because essentially those 3 degrees are the 3 top chakras: throat chakra, pineal, crown. So you access something within you that you probably wasn't accessing before, and that's why I say that everybody doesn't need it, because you might already be accessing these things. So, but for me, I was a person that tried to kind of play the background more or less. I like to read my books and stay at attention. But once I went through those 3 degrees, I became very vocal. And by reciting that ritual and by knowing your work, you become better at articulating your thoughts. Okay, I want to say this too. What people don't know is when you go through that Masonic ritual, it clears out a space for you to work in the astral. Because like we were talking before earlier, everything you do in that Masonic Lodge is done in the astral. It's all in your head. So when you perform that ritual, if you perform it right, I ain't talking about reading the book. You got to work your memory and put your imagination and visualization to it. You clear a space out for yourself to work in the astral. And so that's why you're real disappointed with the mundane. Very disappointed. Oh, man, I thought it was going to be something else. But that space is cleared out for you. If you tap in, tune in, you can start doing that real work. And the real work is within yourself. That's the real work. Man, that ain't about convincing nobody or nothing. It's about doing your work. Because the better you become, it's Panic says it. I'm going to refer to Panic because I ain't going to lie. Him and Bobby helped me a lot. It's the 100 monkey experiment. The 100 monkey experiment was they had 100 monkeys. They taught them how to use a tool, a rock, to break open a coconut or whatever. But what they found out was it was on an island in Japan. You can Google this. 100 monkey experiment. These scientists took 100 monkeys and they taught the children of the monkey. It's always the mind of a child. Even though you're grown, you're not but a grown child. They took 100 monkeys, children, taught them how to use a tool and bust this coconut open. Well, they found out that the grown monkeys on that island, where they were doing the experiment, it was a closed experiment. The grown monkeys couldn't get with it. All the young monkeys got it real fast. But what they found out was off that island on the mainland of Japan, other monkeys were starting to use that tool. Who taught them? The universal consciousness. We all shared a dream. Obviously, those monkeys was going to sleep and visualizing getting that rock and busting that coconut open, or whatever it was. I don't want to say it's a coconut, whatever. But the point I'm making is the better you become, not as some mundane human that's worried about bills, but I'm talking about your spiritual consciousness doing the work, the better everybody else becomes, even if they don't remember their dreams. Because we've all had that moment during the day where we had a random-ass thought that we never thought before. Where did it come from? So the thing about, for me, with Freemasonry was I elevated above the mundane. My dreams were all symbols. One thing I started having at that time, I would go into the astral, and there was a baboon. It was a baboon. He had on a monk's robe. And, man, he would talk about some of the most way out shit, G. He would tell me how to travel the universe, how to bring 5D objects into a 3D reality. And whenever I interrupted him, he would be real impatient with me. But if I just listened, he would talk forever. But what I realized was it was an aspect of myself gaming me up. So for those who don't think they astral travel, for those who don't think they lucid, everybody does it. What I did was I had my meditation routine where I would scan my body and I would heal myself, and I found out it was a scorpion. What I found out is if you get in the habit of going to sleep, letting your body go to sleep, but your mind stay active, you're going to start traversing these realms. One of the first things I did, because Freemasonry, they say the G stands for geometry, right? So what I did was I took the Platonic solids. All the Platonic solids, they correspond to each of the chakras, but they're different shapes, and it's geometry, whether you're good at math or not. Because most people say, I'm not good at math. No, you're not good at arithmetic, because none of us were really taught math. Growing up, we were taught 3 R's, reading, writing, arithmetic. You were given the basics in math by the time you were 9. After that, they went to arithmetic. Everybody knows math. Math is geometry, and, you go on and on and on, and you progress. So for me, what I started doing that helped me out profoundly in meditation and the dream, I would take the Platonic solids, and I would just play with them in my mind. I would let my body go to sleep. As your body goes to sleep, believe it or not, each of your organs, each of your limbs is an individual intelligence. A lot of times when you're in a dream, you're talking to different aspects of your physical body. So what I started getting the habit of, I would play with these shapes: circle, square, triangle, dodecahedron, hedron. I would play with them. I would unfold them. I would take the cross. Like I said, at the time when I joined Freemasonry, I was actually anti-Christian. I was one of them people that posted every day, fuck Jesus Christ, whatever. But I would take the cross because the cross is a good emblem in terms of a 3D image. I would take it because the cross, and I'm going to tell you this, Gene, because you're a Mason, if you unfold the cross, it becomes a perfect cube. Did you know that?
Yeah.
It becomes a perfect square. Every Mason is sitting on this square. So that actually makes Christianity a little easier to digest if you're a Mason. At the time, no, I couldn't get with that. But I would get the cross, I would fold it, unfold it, I would take it and make it flap and fly like a bird. I would fold it into a cube. I would do all these different things. Well, at one point, I was in the dream, and I went through an initiation. It took over. The first time it took over, I was a square. I was a cube. And I was in the dream walking, and my body started trying to pull down, and I resisted. I couldn't fight it. It pulled me down into a cube, put my body into a cube, and I panicked. Only thing was I couldn't get out of that cube. So once I got over the panic of being drawn into a square, I said, wait a second, I'm going to explore this square. I had 360 view. I could look from every angle, and I played with it. So what I would do while I was woke, just to relive that experience, any object I saw, if I drove past a mortuary and they had the pillars, I would imagine it was a caterpillar walking. If I saw a chair, I would imagine that chair walking and flapping and flying. I went through several initiations just like that cube. I was the circle. I was the pyramid. I went through all of them. I even got to the point where a lot of this stuff is visual. So I would go online. I would get pictures, images. I would download images, and I would stare at them all day. So for me, that's what worked. That's what worked for me. And you can from your experiences, you can verify. But like I'm saying, a lot of it is it's not explained to you. It's never explained to you. And like that brother told me, you got to search and find your own life. And that's why I say everybody don't got to be a part of that. You do your own thing and you find your own life. But yeah. Well, is there anything you want to say, Gene, in terms of what I just said?
Well, yeah, masonry definitely isn't for everyone. Masonry is it's almost like a calling. The symbolism with the Masonic symbol itself would stand out to me as a kid. I always recognized it. It was almost like as if in a past life I was a Mason, and I'm continuing the work because it's always stuck out to me. Masonry interests me because I'm a history buff. Now I don't know, here in Michigan we have a huge library. Our Michigan Masonic Library is probably, it's enormous. Our director, Dirk Hughes, he runs our museum here in Michigan, and our library that's open to us is it's a private wing inside of our. It's a place called Masonic Pathways. It's a retirement center. But it's a huge establishment, and one of the wings is our library. Man, if you ever make it to Michigan, I'll definitely send you that way because they got some books, and you can't take any books out of there. But it's Masonry is an acquired taste. The rituals. I have been a Mason for years now, and I've seen people go through their first degree and never come back again. I understand where they tell you in Masonry you have to come free-willing on your own accord, because there was a kid, this was probably about a year ago by now, and he come in there and his uncle was a Mason. The kid's dad was a Mason, and the dad had passed away. And he says, well, your grandfather's a Mason, I'm a Mason, we're all Masons, you're doing this for your dad. And the kid's like, whatever. They're like, hey, are you okay with this? You can see in his face, he's just kind of thrown off. And, when you walk in and do the first year entered apprentice, he was freaked out. He didn't understand it. He didn't come in his own accord. And he got his entered apprentice, but we never seen him again. I don't think we ever will see him again. It has to be for you. This information, metaphysics itself, it isn't for everyone. I'm not for everyone. I'm a unique individual. Sometimes, I resonate with certain people, but man, people I grew up with, people that I've known from a long time, and we're not on the same path anymore. I will say after my Master Mason ritual, a lot changed for me. So, and I agree with everything you said, Mike. It's really refreshing to hear from another Mason, because a lot of people are afraid to talk about Masonry. And YouTube is an open canvas of nonsense and ignorance. A lot of people would much rather hear a video of somebody talking about Masonry that has no idea the concept, and then, will base everything off of it, instead of actually talking to a Mason, thinking that we're all going in there being gay with each other. And I heard some of the most ridiculous, some of the most obnoxious rumors around Masonry. Let's get to the phones and answer some questions. We got a few callers in here, and we've got a lot of response on the chat room here. You down for answering some questions, Mike?
Yeah, I'm down.
All right. If any of our callers unmute your phone. It's going to just go in the order. I'm going to unmute your phone. You can ask Michael or myself anything you guys want or just comment. We're going to start with, looks like Alex W. I'm going to unmute you. You're on the call. Alex, you there?
What up?
Hey, what's going on, brother? How are you?
I'm doing good. What up, Michael? You hear me?
I can hear you. Let's see here. Mike, can you hear Mike?
Yeah, I sure can.
Okay. Got a question for us, brother? A comment?
Yeah, I was talking to Michael the other day about a couple questions I asked him, but I just have one because I've had a couple of dreams now I think about it. And I just wanted you to touch on like dreams that you have where it's like you're seeing it from outside yourself. Like I've had dreams where it's like I'm a movie character or something, watching a movie. Like just the other night I had a dream that I felt, them dreams you just feel like something, even though you don't really remember it, you know what I'm saying? I felt like I was Tom Hanks in this movie, like Forrest Gump type of thing, but it wasn't Forrest Gump, you feel me? You know what I'm saying? It could just be random, but I just wanted to see if you had any thoughts on that.
Well, for myself, when it comes to dreaming, I know that I can have a dream and I don't know who the person is no matter what. For instance, I had a dream the other night, brother. We were out doing something. I don't recall exactly what it was, but I was with him. And in the dream, his appearance changed. But his energy, it was the same person. I knew it was the same person, even though he had changed completely. And I can just, that happens to me often where I would be, say, talking to someone like my mother, and the woman looks like my mother, and then can change completely, and then I'll still think that's my mother, and the conversation will be the same. So maybe that can help you out. Maybe, a lot of times it's just a reflection of yourself. Mike, do you have anything that maybe you can add to that? Help out?
Without a doubt. What's up, Alex?
What up, G?
Oh, man, it's all good. I want to say this, man. I have a lot of those dreams myself. The only thing that helps me out is the only thing that separates those dreams is being lucid. It's being lucid. You go through a lot of different phases and changes. Personally, I don't like being a participant in a dream. I don't like dreaming and I'm like following the script and I'm afraid when I'm supposed to be afraid and I'm happy when I'm supposed to. I like to follow my own script, but you can't be too excited. You can't rush it. I want to share this real quick. My wife, she tolerates what I do, but every step along the way, she really wasn't feeling it. She really wasn't. When I started meditating real tough, she wasn't with it. But it came to a point to where I ain't gonna lie. I started asking myself every night, why am I with this woman? Should I leave this woman? I had questions like that. Well, I had one dream. I'm a Star Wars nut. I had a dream to where I was a female. The female looked like what's her name? She played Padme in the Star Wars movies. I forget her name.
Oh, she's in the Thor movie too, isn't she?
Yeah, she's in the Thor movies. So I had a dream that I was her. I had a dream I was her, but she was more Latino than Natalie Portman. I had a dream I was her.
Portman.
Had a dream I was her, and she was like in Spain, and it was like some medieval motherfuckers, like the Catholic Church, and it was trying to find her father. Her father was Darth Vader, and man, she did everything in her power to keep them motherfuckers from Darth Vader. And Darth Vader was calm and cool the whole dream. He never said a word. And in the end, I'm gonna paraphrase the dream, Alex. In the dream, by the end of the dream, they figured out that she was helping to hide Darth Vader, and they got on her game. She had to go and hide with her father, and she found a way to escape, and everybody got away. That was the end. So when I woke up, I was like, what the fuck was that? I wasn't lucid. I wasn't in control. I was a participant. I told you I don't like it, but I set my intentions to ask the question. So at some point during the day, it hit me. I said, oh, I was seeing that shit from my wife's perspective. I'm fucking Darth Vader. I'm Darth Vader. You know what I'm saying? And like I said earlier when we was talking about the Masonic shit, man, them motherfuckers tried everything in their power to get me to fall in line, to, you know, be with their version of this shit. But my wife was always on me. Bring your ass home. And I used to be pissed. Man, I wanted to fellowship. I wanted to be a part of that shit. But she used to be on me. I used to be pissed, but I took my ass home. But the point I want to make is when you find yourself in these dreams, whether you lucid or not, the key is to set your intentions before you go to sleep. So at the very least, if it's not that day, the next day, a few days later, you'll have a better understanding of it. But the best thing I can say is to find yourself a key to activate in the middle of that dream. For me, I got a partner. He's from Richmond, lives in Stockton. He's on the shit that we talking about. Me and him talk almost daily. If I ever see him in a dream, I instantly say, oh, I'm dreaming, and my dreams always change. I'll share another one real quick. I had a dream where I was in the back seat of a car. In the passenger seat in front of me was Panic, and the driver's seat was Dane Brown, right? And Panic like, oh, you think you with it, huh? You know, he was grilling me. Well, the car pulled over. We got out, and we was in front of like a 7-Eleven. And I saw some little kids. Well, Panic and Dane dipped to the right. I was focused on those kids. I wanted to make sure they was okay. I gave them a few dollars. I was making sure you go in that store, make sure you ask for what you want and get your money back, blah, blah, blah. But then I saw my boy walking down the street. And I said, oh, shit, I'm dreaming. And I remembered, man, where the fuck Dane and Panic go? I dipped off from those kids, made sure they were straight. Dane and Panic and went to this, it was a door on the side of 7-Eleven. There was a brother there. He had on all brown. He had hella gold teeth, gold glasses, gold chain. And in your dreams, you're going to always experience gateways and challenges. And that's just to get you deeper into the dream as you're lucid. So you get to a gateway and a challenge. It's going to be basically mythology. It's going to be a guardian of the gate. Remember in the mythology of the Sphinx had a question. Don't answer it, you die. Well, in the dream, you're going to have these challenges and gateways. Challenges, gateways. Well, I went to the door, and dude was like, nah, bro. He was like a country cat, like a down south dude. He was smiling, hella gold teeth. He said, close that door on me. I said, man, I'm with Larry. I didn't say Panic. I said, man, I'm with Larry. And he started smiling, and he nodded his head, yeah. But when I went through the door, I went down some stairs. Okay, we're going to decode that part. I was going deeper into the subconscious. I was descending. I went down. I looked. Man, the motherfucker was about 2 football fields away. And I seen some other cat running to catch up. Man, I ran to catch up, too. I'm going to the party like everybody else. But the only thing that separated that dream from a regular dream was being lucid. Because had I not been lucid, I would have still been there talking to them kids. So the only thing that's going to change your dreams up is setting your intent and finding a way to remind yourself in the dream, man, I'm dreaming. So sometimes it might be seeing something you know, seeing it. That's why you keep a dream journal. Because you might realize in your dream, man, I always see the color blue. So you might be dreaming and see blue and say, oh, shit, I'm dreaming. And from there, your dream is going to change. I don't care if you decide to start flying and go to the moon, or if you say, I'm going to follow this out, but with different dialogue. So I would just say to Alex, man, set your intent before you go to sleep. See, I know, Alex, we Facebook partners. I ain't going to say friends. We Facebook partners. I would just say set your intent. I don't know if you got a dream journal, but if you do, once a month, I go, about every 3 to 4 weeks, I go over my dream journal. I'm looking for colors, people, anything that repeats itself. If it's a repeater, you're going to be in a dream. By going over your dream journal, at some point, you're going to say, the color blue. And it just helps to be aware. And like even dude that was guarding that door in the Panic dream, I decoded dude to try to figure out, well, what deity was that? Because your dreams directly connected to the mythology and deity. So when you dream and you think it's a stranger, I'll tell you another one real quick. Papa Legba. Before I really got deep into him, I was on Kabbalah. I realized that Kabbalah had the Christian cross in it, so I was meditating on the cross, and I seen Jesus Christ on the cross. I didn't grow up with that. I grew up a Jehovah's Witness, and Jehovah's Witnesses say that Jesus Christ wasn't on the cross, he was on the stake. So for me, that was odd. What is this motherfucker doing pinned to this cross? And he was in hella pain and agony. He looked hella painful. I said, man, I want out of this shit, but I couldn't get out. So I started walking around the cross, looking at it, examining it, looking at this nigga laid on this cross. Well, at some point, that motherfucker hopped down and started laughing at me. So I'm like, what? What is this? We started talking. I'm going to shorten it up. I woke up. I started doing my research. That wasn't no Jesus Christ. That motherfucker played a joke on me. I found out it was Papa Legba. Legba's a trickster, right? Yeah. So that's why I say, I would always say you got to have lots of books on deities. You got to have your mind open. Don't have it fixed, because you might be saying to yourself, I saw Jesus Christ. No, it was Papa Legba playing a trick on me. But Papa Legba is a correspondence to the Christ figure. He's just an African Christ figure. You dig? And even if you might not even be studying African deity, you're going to realize all this shit is in your head anyway. So for me, Kemetic deities are easiest for me to access. I can focus on almost any Kemetic deity and I can access them. And I usually access them in meditation, and I take whatever I got from meditation to the dream. Only thing I would say to you, though, is you got it already. I know for a fact, Alex, you remember multiple dreams. The key is just to be lucid, because once you lucid, you can ask those questions. You might, another one I had, a Legba, he was a bum with 2 dogs. And I was talking to this bum with 2 dogs, and he was denying me. I couldn't get past that I always say it's a challenge and a gateway. The challenge is the guardian guarding that gateway to let you pass. So I kept wondering, who the fuck is this bum with these dogs? Did my research. Papa Legba run with 2 dogs. So I said, oh, Papa Legba been in my dreams. Tough. And then you work with it from that aspect. So once you realize who it is, man, you can set something on your altar. Really, you don't need an altar because it's all mental. The word altar is actually ALTER, is to alter your consciousness. That's the whole purpose of an altar, is to alter your mind. So you realize the deity been paying visits to you. If you want to fuck with him, you can. If you don't, you move on. Because the bottom line is, all these gods and goddesses is getting at you constantly. It just depends on whether you want to resonate with them, because you might be at a certain deity and get no action, no rhythm. It ain't who you're supposed to be at. So that's why I always refer to the dream, because your dream is a direct link to mythology. Mythology is all about deities. So you go through your dreams. If you see somebody you didn't know, try to pay attention to a characteristic. You know, something you saw that stood out, and you try to research it. If you don't got the books, I got hella books. If you don't got the books, then you Google it, because we're in the age of Aquarius. You actually don't have to have a physical book. You can Google it. And believe me, if you're searching, you're going to find it. If you're searching, you're going to find it.
No,
Did that answer your question, brother?
Oh, yeah, for sure. One of the things I just want to say real quick, because that shit hit my spirit, I got chills and everything, is how you said how it was through your girl's perspective, you feel me? And I've never thought about that before. Like, you know what I'm saying? We're dreaming, that's in the spiritual realm. It's not just our ego, you feel me? We could be looking at ourselves through someone else's perspective, too. You feel me? Because it's in the spirit. And that hit me, like, and some of them dreams say I could be looking through my girl's shoes, you feel me, who lives in me, seeing myself, seeing my own ego, seeing the things I need to fix from her perspective, or even my higher self perspective, you feel me, to my everyday personality. You feel me? That hit me hard when you said that.
No doubt, no doubt. I say this to you too, Alex. I did a lot of past life regression. Once I realized that, man, we all just borrowed material, And, you know, it's only so many souls that touch down on this planet. I started doing past life regression. And a lot of them bothered me, man. A lot of them bothered me. You know, I had one where I was looking like this dude. He looked like motherfucking Samuel L. Jackson in Django. He was teaching this white girl everything. I had a problem with it at first, but then I had to get past my ego. But what I want to say is, you mentioned your higher self. I do past life regressions on the regular. And I had one past life regression where I met this dude, and he had dreads, and he was standing there with his arms crossed and whatever. And I woke up with the name Batapi on my tongue. Batapi. I could see the letter. But eventually I realized that's an aspect of my higher self. You know what I'm saying? So what I do now, the best thing to do, I forget where I got it from. It's in one of these books. But I'm going to share it anyway. It's not my original. I got it from one of these books. Usually you'll have a dream. I think, Alex, one time I told you about a dream, you called it a praise dream. You'll have a dream where you're in a temple. You might be in the woods, but you feel like it's a sacred space. If you ever have a dream like that, for me, it was a very specific temple with a very specific colors. What you do is mental time travel. You go in meditation or in a dream, and you go back to that place over and over because your dome is the temple. So from that temple, you can launch and go anywhere. The Bible says my Father's house has many mansions. So what I do is I got this temple. I go there, and it has a bunch of rooms. I can dip. I got an altar in there. I got all kind of shit set up. I go there, and I try to dip to different places. Sometimes I go through different doors I never went through before. But the bottom line is establish you a set place that you work from, because this is important for when you die. When you die, man, if you ain't working, you just going to go into the ethers. You're going to be in, like, What Dreams May Come True, the movie What Dreams May Come True. You're just going to be in an aspect of your own dream. So what I do is I have a fixed place that I go to. I check on it, make sure that I have an altar that stay lit. Stay lit. The fires never go out in that altar. I go there. It's a temple. I roll with these serpents. I got a whole little things I go through. The basis of what you go through to get there is to let your body go to sleep, but your mind be active. And you got to have a good imagination. If you don't have a good imagination, some people don't. Robert Bruce has a real good PDF. It's free online called New Energy Waves. You get that. It teaches you how to start accessing different parts of your chakras in your body without no visualization. And it is a stepping stone to having good visualization. But the bottom line is you have that temple. You got that place. I don't care if it's your grandma's house. But I would say a temple, somewhere that you've never been before. If you got to build it yourself, and you go there on the regular and keep adding to it, because it's a good chance when you pass, that's where you're going to go. And you don't want to pass if you, the Kemetic scriptures say, the Kemetic text say you're supposed to go north and go to the Aurora Borealis. If you don't do that, at the very least, you want to be in control of where you at. You don't want to pass away and not know that you're gone and just waiting to reincarnate. So for me, I have a temple. I have a specific way I get there. I draw sigils on the wall and make shit unlock, and I go through it. I got several gateways I put myself through just to get in the habit of going into the dream, being lucid, touching that astral. And that's all you want to do. But, yeah, you're going to experience it from different aspects. I have very few where I'm animals, but I've been every race. I've been a Japanese samurai. I've been little white girls, and that's what you got to understand, too. When you reincarnate, you choose what to come back as, man. I'm not saying that's what it is for everybody and all these people on earth, but those who can, do. So I did past life regressions that I didn't agree with, but I look at my life right now, and I realize, oh, that's why I do the shit that I do. Most of my past life regressions, I'm always trying to teach somebody something, helping somebody do something. So what I told myself was, in this life, even though I'm just getting up on it, I'm trying to do some shit for my motherfucking self. You know?
And a lot of the research that I've done, it says that you come back as something that you despised or hated, so that you could grow to progress. So, you come back something that you hated in a past life. And, when I reflect on that, it makes a lot of sense, because that's the only way to really have growth, to really put yourself in the other person's shoes.
Yeah. And that's a way of defeating your ego, too, because ego get in the way. Your ego tell you hella motherfucking raw, you did all this before, and you don't need nobody.
Right.
It's all good. So it's a good way of defeating your ego, is to see yourself as a woman and you a man, or seeing yourself as a man and you a woman. And I say defeat, but I realize you ain't trying to destroy your ego. You don't want to kill it, because for real, that motherfucker, your ego just got your back and just going about it all in the wrong way. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So all you want to do is train your ego to do what you want it to do. Ego ain't going nowhere. It ain't going nowhere. You develop you develop your ego by the time you're 3. By the time you're 3, you got an ego. If you know not to touch fire because it's hot, if I do this, my mama gonna pop me. You got an ego. You got it. And that's another thing I want to say too. A lot of people be hard on women, especially black women. Man, them bitches crazy. Say this, say that. But the thing is, we was talking about the great mother and all that. But the thing is, the only way for you to get this physical body, you got to come through a woman. And Kabbalah, that's coming through the moon, the sign of Cancer. Everybody's born through the sign of Cancer. Esoterically. I ain't talking about your physical birth. Esoterically, everybody exits through the gate of Cancer. Cancer is the moon. Cancer is the puss. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times you might be resentful or whatever, but you came back here to learn something. You might have been a female before in the last time, and you said, I'm going to come back as a dude just to experience this shit from the opposite side of the coin. But the thing is to let the experience come to you and direct it. Don't just be going into meditation just to go. Man, have a question and expect your answer. You know what I'm saying? That's why I always say ask a question that you really want to answer to. Don't ask something too frivolous. Ask my...
Yeah.
But
I got one more thing. One more question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, for sure. You talked about the organs, how they talk to you individually sometimes, and
about
with the Rob. What was you saying?
About the organs?
Yeah, how each organ, when you go to sleep, they can talk to you individually. You feel me?
Oh, without a doubt. That's one of the things I realized, too. A lot of times when you go in a dream, it's not no random motherfucker. It might be your liver. It might be your left arm. It might be your foot. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times, that's why I got books on anatomy. I got a Gray's Anatomy. It's thick like a dictionary, very few pictures. But, yeah, your organs, each of your organs is an intelligence. So sometimes when you go, especially in meditation is a little easier than the dream. So especially in meditation, you'll be surprised to realize who you really hollering at. Because what I did, I had a mantra that I made up and I recorded. It was called The Key to the Darkest Door. And my mantra was, I can't remember it offhand now, but it was to the effect of, I have the key to the darkest door. I will open it, enter, and remember all that has been forgotten. I am the light, escaping from darkness, pregnant with ideas. I am the light, return to darkness. I had a whole little mantra. I put it on my phone and would listen to it. Well, doing that mantra, man, fucked me up. I went back to Atlantis, and then further than that, I went back to womb, cell, zygote, atom. You go deeper and deeper. And so that's when I started realizing that a lot of times when you're in the dream and meditation, you're talking to different organs in your body. So what I started doing was I would go in meditation and I would focus on my foot, my heart, my liver, my lung. You focus on it, and I would ask for the name. Give me your name. Tell me what your name is, and whatever works for you. Now, what I'm saying,
issues too. Different organs and shit.
Say it again.
Then different organs correspond to different deities and shit too, different types of energies, or even
Exactly. I got a book. I'm gonna pull the book out. But there's a book it's called The Magician's Table of Correspondences. It tells you whatever. Okay, I'm gonna back it up real quick. I'm gonna get to it. My foot was killing me. It was specifically my toes. I got a job where I'd be on my feet a lot. My feet was killing me, and I would go in meditation. Well, I was doing candle magic at the time. I would stare at the blackness in the flame, not the colors. Stare at the blackness in the flame, 15 to 30 minutes, and then I would close my eyes, go into meditation, or you can look in a mirror, go in meditation. And one of these times, while I was staring into the candle, I saw Ptah. Right? Now, at the time, I was distracting myself from my foot. My foot was killing me, and I was meditating. I just didn't want to focus on that pain. I saw Ptah. So me and Ptah had a real good conversation. Turns out Ptah is a Masonic deity. He's for masonry and stone builders and blah, 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 whatever. But we had a real good conversation. When I came out of meditation, I was real surprised that Ptah came to me. So I got my book, The Magician's Tables of Correspondence. I'm going to get the name for you before we get off. I got the book. Man, I found out that Ptah is the deity over the foot.
Right.
Fuck me up. So, yeah, every part of your body corresponds to a chakra, a deity, a color, a day of the week, a number. So you'll be surprised. You keep having a number with the number 5. Man, you better get to the bottom of that. It might be your throat chakra. Or
what I wanted you to touch on real quick was with the Robert Bruce, how he talks about the projections, like you can go through the brow area, the heart, the stomach, things like that, or even me and you talking about the back sometimes, you feel me? Because the other night, for the first time, or maybe the first time, I had a slight projection, but it was through my heart. I felt this real intense shit in my heart, like I was having a heart attack in my heart. Most of the time it's through my third eye, but this time it's through my heart. So I just wanted to touch on this real quick. The different projections to this area.
That's some good shit. The heart is where you want to be. The heart is the gateway. The heart is like when you get on the freeway, you can go left, right, straight ahead. C. Freeman L. has some good meditations on the heart chakra. So I use his the most. C. Freeman L. says you're supposed to envision a flower. He has a color, but I chose my own color. And from focusing on it in meditation over and over and over and over, I have a very specific flower that represents my heart chakra. You can do the same for any part of your body. My feet are red roses, right? But for the heart chakra, you imagine a rose. What I do is I imagine that rose growing out the ground, and I watch it grow, and the stem and the thorns come out, and the leaves and the bud. Now, everybody says the heart is red, but we know the heart is actually green. So my rose is green. It has gold tips, pinkish red veins. I can go in detail. But the best thing to do is either meditation or as you're drifting off to sleep. Don't do it when you first lay down because you ain't sleepy. I'm talking about when you feel yourself getting ready to go to sleep, start doing the meditation. So what I do is when I inhale, I tell myself my heart chakra is open and fully functional. When I exhale, I am perfect love. But the whole time I'm inhaling and exhaling, I envision that flower opening up. The sun is shining, it's a blue sky, the rays is beating on that heart chakra, and believe it or not, you'll go a lot of places. Now, that's a light side meditation. For me, when I do a dark side meditation, I use Yog-Sothoth from the Cthulhu mythos. Because Yog-Sothoth is a gateway deity. Your heart is the gateway. It's at the middle point between all your chakras. So if you're leaning towards the dark side, man, do some research on Yog-Sothoth. Yog-Sothoth is a bunch of tentacles and eyes. So whenever I do my Yog-Sothoth meditation, my whole head is a bunch of tentacles with eyes. My heart is just one huge eye with a pyramid in it. and that eye don't never blink. And I just imagine them tentacles in my brain swirling and rising. I see the eyes opening, and them eyes is letting you know you can go anywhere you want to. From your heart chakra, you can go wherever you want. You can go up or down, to the left, right. But the best thing to do is just start putting in time and in meditation, man, talk to your heart chakra. It's a female for sure. All your chakras are feminine, even though they have masculine and feminine qualities. But talk to it. Get to know it. Man, what's your name? I want to holler at you one-on-one. I talk real plain. And what I noticed is, Bobby said it best, anger gets shit done. When you be mad and something don't go your way, you've been meditating and ain't got the answer you wanted, man, I get mad. What the fuck? Man, I've been asking you for this shit. I get mad. And it never fails.
So when you be talking to it, I've done it a couple of times. I got two different results. One is when I try to channel something, I'll talk, and I'll pretty much fake a conversation. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like, I'll talk and do it back. But other times I've talked, and then, like, a different voice talks me back. You feel me? Like, it wasn't me. You feel me?
That's when you tapped in. See, that's where the fake it till you make it come in. You know?
Okay, so you have that fake conversation until it takes over?
Yeah, it feels silly. That's why I say when you first lay down, that's all you. You haven't, your subconscious is that water. You in the deep ocean. When you first go to sleep, you bobbing on the top of the ocean. So you might go back and forth, ask your questions, and you imagine what you say back to yourself. But when you start knowing, that ain't me talking. It's a different voice. It's a different whatever. Then you know you tapped in. And you just keep doing it. Man, I keep doing it. And it never fails. It usually happens when I least expect it. It usually happens when I least expect it. So when I go in, when I first lay down, the first thing I do is quiet my mind, because you got all them thoughts. Man, tomorrow I'm going to get up, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this. Man, and what I do, too, is to get myself in the mode of letting my body go to sleep but my mind stay active, what I do is I play back everything I did during the day, as much as I can remember. And I ask myself, well, what should I do different? I should have did this, I should have did that, whatever. You play it back. It's going to reach a point to where you're not playing back no more. Your body going to do little shit. Your nose might itch, your ear might itch, your back might itch. That's when you resist, because your body, this is a scientific fact, when your body goes to sleep, it's going to check to make sure your mind is asleep too, because your body's saying, oh, if my mind's asleep, I can finally rest. So as you're going to sleep, you're going to feel itches. You're going to want to rearrange. Just stay still. Lay like you a corpse in a casket. I lay my hands over my heart chakra or on my side, on my back. I use a sleep mask and earplugs most nights, especially if I want to answer. I don't want no outside influence. My wife sleeps with the TV on. If I go to sleep without my earplugs, I'll be having dreams about Miami Vice and all kind of weird shit.
All right.
So I put in my earplugs, because another thing is your pineal don't get fully active till it's in complete darkness. That's why back in Egypt, the initiates went into that motherfucking heart chamber in the pyramid in complete blackness with nothing but rations for 3 days, not even a candle. Complete darkness, your pineal fire up. I tell you another good one. Even though you focus on your heart chakra, man, imagine your mind. My mind, I envision it, lighting up, lightning striking it. I love Star Wars, so I do the Sith Lord lightning. It fire up. In your brain, you got those sand crystals. I imagine the lightning firing off that, going to my brain. Always focus on your right hemisphere, the right side of your brain. That's where all imagination, creativity, all that is at. So when you're doing it, it sounds like a lot, but once you get in the habit of doing it, you don't got to focus on it. You can tell yourself, I'm on the right side, see your brain. You can work your way down to the heart or work your way from the heart up. What I used to do was I started at my root, red, work up, yellow. That's how I went to astral. I would climb up a ladder, and I would go by certain colors, and I would know where I was at. Oh, I'm orange, so I'm in the cycle.
Gee, I got a question for you.
Go ahead, family.
You have
Hello?
Yes, it looks like somebody jumped in on the conversation. We got a bunch of people that are jumping in, and I had to unmute them. So, my bad. I'll stay on top of that.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
I just what we saying. It's all visualization and imagination, and what works best for you probably won't work for me. But I would just say get in the habit of going into your meditation and you just focus on one. And I'll say this too. I said a rose. Man, for you, your heart could be a pit bull. Whatever represents that part of your body, you focus on it, and it's going to come alive. Like you said, it's going to be that other voice. It ain't going to be you, and that's how you know you win. And that's an aspect of the lucid dream and the astral. So that's all you really want to do.
For sure. I appreciate it. I got some good insight. Definitely.
Did that answer your question, brother?
Yes, sir.
All right, man. You take it easy, and appreciate you calling in.
Yep.
All right, we're going to move down to the next caller here. Unmute your phone. You're on the mic, Central Michigan. Hello, Central Michigan. Going once for Central Michigan. Going twice. All right, we got nobody for Central Michigan, and we're going to go down to California here. Central California, you're live on the air. Hello? Hello? I guess they maybe have their phones muted or
let's see.
No, that they're it's possible. Well, I don't know. Let me try to go through here. 1, 2. Okay. I had one caller come in from California, but he jumped in the middle.
That voice sounded real familiar. I think I know who that is.
You tell him I apologize. I had to mute him out of you guys' conversation. Well, Mike, I think we're going to wrap things up here this evening. This has been way more overwhelming than I thought it was going to be. I don't have much to say. I think I'll do a part 2 to this episode, though, because there's so many things that I was thinking of after the fact. I think we'll get together here real soon and do part 2 to dreams and masonry, because I really think we just really scratched the surface of both.
Right there.
You want to give your contact information, letting people know where they can contact you, where they can find you if they want to dialogue it even further?
Oh, man, on Facebook, my name is Michael Bell. I can't tell you what my profile is. But
hold on 1 second, Michael. Mike, hold on 1 second. Central California, are you there?
Yeah, that's me. I just got back on. Sorry about that.
I'm sorry, man. I had to mute you out because they were in the middle of a conversation. How you doing? You got anything you want to ask me or Michael?
Yeah, I've had my little experiences on the other side, and I was focused. I wanted to do certain things, and I got to do those things, and I hadn't done them in some time, but I'm back to that, and I'm back focused on it, and I just really want to help tear this dadgum matrix down. So I'm looking to go up in there and tear down police departments and tear up bridges and shit like that.
Yeah, I know this voice. This my people. Is this your folks, Los?
You know it.
Okay. Yeah, real quick. That's a meditation I do on the regular because just real briefly, I don't want to drag it out. I know we're about to wrap it up. But this, what he's speaking on is a Gnostic point of view, and from Gnosticism, this whole reality is a twisted version of the demiurge. Demiurge running this reality, and that's why everything is based on sadness and pain, and people got to profit by somebody else.
Straight root chakra shit.
Root chakra shit. So me personally, yes, I got a very specific meditation. I try to do it every day, but I don't. I do it at least a few times a week, to where, yes, I envision every aspect of this matrix crumbling. I take down bridges, and what's amazing about it is a part of you, the part of your ego, even though you're in meditation, part of you gonna feel sad. One time, I always start in my city where I'm at, and I spread out. I go to the Pentagon, I go to the D.C. I actually have a technique I call the hand of God. It's an invisible hand that I just smash shit with. And just to tear this illusion down, because the bottom line, most of us are attached to these physical bodies in this reality, and this ain't it. We here to do work, and to be honest, if we was all doing the work, we wouldn't even be here. You know, I say a lot to myself that it's going to be a long time before the matrix crumble. We got 8 billion souls on this planet, 8 billion. Now, even if 7 billion of them are automatons, there's still 1 billion people that got work to do. So in my mind, I tell myself constantly, man, this matrix ain't going nowhere no time soon. But I do my best to destroy it because we all living here in sadness, loss. Everybody has lost somebody, mother, father, brother, best friend. Even if it's nothing but your poodle, everybody has lost something. So yes, I do that a lot. I go in, and yes, I do imagine that. Yes, I do.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'm ready for this.
I have a philosophy usually that when I have people approach me with a question, I had a guy not too long ago ask me, what was this information going to do for the world? And I had to say to him, like, man, you can't do anything for the world. You got to change yourself. And if every person changed themselves for the better and tried to become the best person they could possibly be, then a lot of the stuff that, you was going to run it into, just, for the most part, things would just work out the way they needed because everybody would be worried about the next thing. They'd be worried about fixing themselves. So hopefully that helps you out with a little bit of info for you along your journey.
Yeah, I appreciate this.
And no problem.
Yeah, so when I go back in, I'm tearing shit down. I'm tearing shit up. Because people are already down to zero birth rate.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Tear it down.
Yeah, we in the age of information, man. Aquarius, a lot of people, we've not even been into the age of Aquarius for a full decade yet. So a lot of people are still stuck in the Pisces mindset of being taught and told what to do. You put out some information and they ask you a question and I reply back, well, just research it. And they go crazy. Why won't you just tell me? Because my answer is for me. My answer you may not be satisfied with. So it's best for them to go and research it themselves. But for some reason, that bothers them. If I say number 9, they may get upset. They may be stuck on 7, or 11. 9 is for me. Like you said, everything ain't for everybody. But I would just say, hey, man, go on and research, until you get something that you stick with, until you get something that you all right, you cool with.
Can I say this to you real quick?
Yeah.
Most of us, almost everybody's familiar with the Bible. It's about. And it's a passage in the Bible where Jesus said, let the dead bury the dead. And that's a huge aspect of consciousness. And right now, consciousness and being woke is a slogan, and it's really something that people pissing on and shitting on. But to be honest, if you really about that work, you really can't worry. You can't focus on the dead. If somebody not on what you on, even if they think they higher than you or you think you higher than whatever if they're not on what you on, you really can't trip, because one of the main things I always say is, especially on Facebook, because Facebook is a platform where everybody gets to share their own unique brand of consciousness. And most of the people sharing information on Facebook, they're trying to help somebody, even if they did wrong about it. Even if they saying, share this post and Jesus is going to bless you in 30 seconds. They did wrong, but they're trying to help. But the thing about it is, you can't help nobody unless you're helping yourself. We were just talking earlier about the 100 monkey experiment. The best thing you can do is do the work. If you working, you help somebody. But otherwise, you ain't doing nothing but throwing an alarm clock in the graveyard. That's it. You waking up dead people. And everybody know, we all watch The Walking Dead. You wake up the dead, you end up with nothing but zombies that's going to bite you and infect you.
Going to bite your head off.
And they're going to infect you with their form of dead consciousness. That, to me, that's what all zombie movies represent. Somebody bites you, and you get infected with their dead thoughts. You become a zombie.
Then you go right back to church, right back to the mediocre shit that you
go right back to the mediocre. So the main thing, if you watch Walking Dead, any zombie movie, the only way you can move around zombies, you got to smear a little zombie blood on you. A little bit at least. Because if they realize you're not one of them, they turn on you. I was just reading this book, The Hermetica, and it was saying how in the Middle Ages, the stuff we talking about right now, if we was talking about this in the 1300s, the 1100s, man, we would have been.
We'd be dead.
It was this one dude who was conscious for that time period. I think it was the 1300s, but he stood his ground. They told him get up out of here. He was in Italy. They told him the Roman Catholic Church said get up out of here. He refused to leave. Know what they did to that man?
What?
They pinned him down and they peeled his skin off his body with scallop shell. Ooh! So listen to what I'm saying to you.
Oh, my God.
Listen to what I'm saying to you. Right now, we are fortunate to be in America. Because if we was in Afghanistan or one of the other countries talking about metaphysics and different gods other than the state-approved God, that could be you. There was another dude, I think his name was Ruchelin. He was in Europe. He fled from Europe to somewhere else, and he was on that consciousness, but he said, I'm going back. He went back to Italy. Man, they put him in prison, tortured him for 8 years, then burnt him at the stake, at the cross. So the point I'm making is, just so happened, we're at a time when you can talk this shit and walk this shit, and people just say, oh, I'm going to unfollow him. But if you had went back 30, 40, 100 years from now, man, you would be dead. And I'm going to get back on the topic of Freemasonry with this. That's where the secret of Freemasonry comes in at. That's why no matter what country you go to, Freemasons operate under the national deity. So you can be in an Arabic country. Outwardly, you worship Allah, but in your lives, you can worship any deity you want. You can acknowledge the deity within you. Because truthfully, human beings don't like humans that's being. They like humans that's doing. They want you to be doing what they doing. If you're just being, man, humans will kill you. That's where they got with Frankenstein. Frankenstein was actually synonymous with consciousness, right? What they do, they got pitchforks and fire, and they burnt that motherfucker down. So we live in a time where, yes, you can express your opinion, and at the most, people will say, oh, he crazy. At best, they'll say, oh, that brother dropped some real knowledge. But for real, the secret is, and it might come real soon. We're in the beginning of Aquarius. Real soon, they might say, man, anybody talking this old consciousness, third eye shit, kill them. Now what? You going to be like Ruchelin? You going to stay where you at? Man, I'm going to get quiet, man, because I already know. Nobody want to. The average person don't want to hear what you're talking about anyway. They don't want to hear it. Dreaming, no. That's evil. That's the devil. You doing what? You going to astral? That's devil.
Chakra, so, that's devil worship. That's witchcraft.
That's devil. That's witchcraft. So the point I'm making is, at some point, your vibe is going to attract your tribe, and that's who you resonate with. Man, I'll be honest. I know the Bible very well. I've read it cover to cover over 6 times. At my job, when I feel like it, I engage in brain dead Christians, and we talk, and they say, man, Mike, you should be a pastor. Other times they talk, I shut the fuck up. I listen to my spirit, because the bottom line is, it may come a time when it ain't cool to be talking this consciousness. So I'm personally getting out the habit of trying to wake up the dead, because Bobby Hemming had a real good lecture on it where he said everybody set different alarm clocks than you. So you might be woke.
It's 4 a.m. in your time zone. Somewhere else it's 1 o'clock. Man, don't be calling my phone talking about, man, Cthulhu has risen and your chakras and it's 1 o'clock in the morning. You lost your mind? Man, I set my alarm clock for 6 p.m. my time zone. So what I do, somebody hit me up, I think they with it, I throw a little something out there. If they ain't, I instantly tell them, man, you right. I never thought about that. And I move on. As it gets to being too insistent, I use the almighty block button. I block you from my nation, my Magi nation. Because, man, it may just come to that. But right now, I sincerely believe, being in the age of Aquarius, this is the time while all this information is flowing. I'm going to say this real quick and get off the topic. Everybody has heard the saying, when in Rome, do what the Romans do. But most people don't know where that saying came from. Before Rome became totally Christian, Rome acknowledged every deity. Whatever God you worship, they would tell you, set up an altar, set up a temple, it's good. Only thing the Romans asked was, pay your taxes. Other than that, worship the way you want to. So the saying, when in Rome, do what the Romans do, actually meant to be inclusive. Don't be hating on nobody else's shit. If somebody doing something you don't like, move on, don't look at it. But eventually, the Romans became into the Christian era. I threw up my little air quotes. Once they got into the Christian era, anything that wasn't Christian became pagan. And if it's pagan don't mean nothing but people who live outside the city in the country, right? So once it became pagan, man, if you ain't doing what I'm doing, kill him. Kill him. So the only point I'm making is you got to walk a fine line. You know, when that information hits you, you be wanting to scream it to the world. Right now in my house, my wife tells me all the time, I don't want to hear about no chakras. That's all I talk about. And I can dig it. I don't even punish her with it. I hit and miss with my spots. So it's the same thing with your consciousness. Everybody ain't where you at. You know, and your personal deity, your subconscious, when God speaks to you, a lot of times we misinterpret the message for us as being a message for them. And it's just for self. But I feel you, though. I definitely feel you. People say it all the time, this is evil. When I joined the Masons, a lot of people told me, man, when you join, they conjure up a demon, and the demon get in your body. And I'm going to be honest with you. Hey, and I'm going to be honest with you. I was concerned. I'm going to be honest. So, you know, when they said close your eyes, I was peeking, man. What they doing, you know? What's going on? But I'm being honest with you. But once I realized, I'm being honest with you. I'm being honest. But
no doubt.
I began to realize, though, the old saying, only thing to fear is fear itself. Only thing you have to be afraid of is your mind, where your head at. And I talk a lot about spiritual protection. I talk about my wife being my spiritual protection. Man, I got faith in my spiritual protection. Can't nobody make me do nothing I don't want to do. Okay, right now, it's 6 planets in retrograde. That don't mean I got to do nothing I don't want to do. Because the basis is of all of this, chakras, deities, dreams, rituals, potions, spells, the basis of all of that is for you to be master and commander, not for you to be mastered and commanded. So if you allow any of this to move you, if you say, man, my God said to cut your head off, man, I'm going to quietly step back from you. Oh, wow, word? Yeah, that's right. Okay, that's what's up. Hey, let me go. And I'm going to dip off because that's how it is. And I don't care if they're Muslim, Christian, whatever. So a huge part of it is you got to be in tune with yourself, though. You really do. And you got to understand when a lot of stuff we see in the dream and in meditation, you be wanting to tell somebody, but it's just for you. I like the stuff that I can't communicate. I like when I have a dream and I can't even put it in words. That's the best ones because I know for a fact it was just for me. And sometimes, exactly. Now, other times you have a dream and you say, man, I'm posting this on Facebook. Okay, maybe that was for somebody else. You might even get 100 people that say, man, I resonate with that. But it's about knowing the difference because you walk in the fine line. The bottom line is everything you're doing is just for yourself. Because we got the stories of Heru. He was the widow's son. His dad got killed and chopped up into a bunch of pieces, went to the underworld. His mama had to go through hella work just to bring his daddy back. And guess what? Once Isis brought Asar back, that nigga went back to the underworld. I'm out. He let his son have his physical world. You the son. That's you. Now, you got to have faith in your subconscious, which is Asar, that he going to do his work, and he got your back. Because your daddy came back, told you I love you, and he went right back. We was talking earlier about how all the superheroes is widow sons. All of them, none of them got their daddy. You know what I'm saying? That applies to a huge segment of the society right now that grew up not knowing their daddy. You know what I'm saying? What that make you? The widow's son. You got to operate within that and have faith, and you listen to them dreams, and you operate as such. You know what I'm saying? And like I was saying too, try to always decode your dreams more than one way, because the first way might be pure ego. You know what I'm saying? So you get 2 or 3 different aspects, and you making gumbo, you make it a nice little stew, and you throw it all in there because it all applies to you. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I feel you. I went on the same page. Whenever Facebook give me my memories from 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, sometimes I cringe because I was condemning motherfuckers to hell, or I was telling everybody this is the way. You know, when they go really far back, and I'd be quoting Bible scriptures every day, I say, oh man, what was I thinking? But you gotta have faith in your higher self and your subconscious mind, and know that whatever you was doing, it was a necessary step to get you to doing what you're doing right now. You know what I'm saying? Everything.
It's all growth.
It is. It don't matter. You know, a big thing now is melanin, interracial relationships. It's a huge thing. Huge. Oh, if you were a white woman, man, you going to hell. No, get the fuck out of here. Now, what does matter, melanin does count. I'm going to be honest. God made a level playing field. I ain't talking about the God of the Bible. I ain't talking about no VD. No, I'm talking about the entity that set all this in motion. He made it a level playing field. Everybody got the same chances. But just like when you're watching a race, anybody that watch the Olympics, you notice how everybody be staggered? Some person being number 1, another person number 6, way back. You're still on the race, but where you at, though? Melanin does play a part in where you at. But guess what? Man, Michael Jordan uses melanin to jump high. You think Michael Jordan conscious? You think he going to astral realms? No. So melanin plays a part, but what I'm saying is every organ in your body got melanin. You got neuromelanin, you got ocular melanin, you got spinal melanin, you got epidural melanin. Now, some people got a whole lot less, some people got a whole lot more. But, man, if you not working, okay, I'm going to use the old school song, WC in the Mad Circle. If you don't work, you don't eat. I don't care how black you are. If you ain't working, you could be midnight. If you ain't working, jump high, eat your McDonald's, buy you some Jordans, and go to church. Yeah, don't matter. If work is the only thing that sets you apart. Are you working or are you not working? And I'll be honest. Before I got deep into my work, I had hella questions. Nobody would answer them. But once I started really doing the work and people started asking me questions, I knew who was working and who wasn't working. You can tell from the question. And so that's why I help. If I know you, if my spirit say you working, I'm going to give you all the help you need. If my spirit say, man, you jawsing, you with the conscious movement. You just woke AF.
Yeah,
bro.
This is a fad.
I'm not fooling with you. I'm going to keep it moving. I'm going to agree with whatever you say. If you tell me that a hot dog is Jesus, man, I never thought about that. You right. I'm going to holler at you, though, and I'm out. So, you can't get caught up on the human side of things. And I'm going to take that back to Freemasonry. In the Masonic Lodge, There's a lot of human politics going on. If you get caught up on the human side, you are lost. Masonry talks about revering the deity. Man, if you focus, the Bible say it too. I'm gonna quote the Bible on their ass. A lot of people scared of it. But it says, if you put this first, if you seek ye first the kingdom, all these other things will be added to you. So, man, don't look left. Matter of fact, one of my visuals, my car don't got no rear view mirrors and no side mirrors. I'm not focused on nothing going on behind me or around me. I'm doing my work. And if you think I'm the wackest motherfucker on earth, hotep, my niggas, hotep. You know what I'm saying? Habidi
Right.
Schwa, whatever religion you speak, I'm going to agree with you. And it might even hurt my feelings. But I'm going to agree with you and continue to work. Because, man, what worked for me might not work for you. What worked for Brother Gene might not work for nobody else. Gene told me something the other day. We was talking, how he does these meditations in a dark closet. Man, I'm jealous. I'm jealous. I've never done it. I've thought about it. I just don't have the opportunity. I'm jealous. I wish. But what I'm doing is working for me, and until I get that opportunity, I'm going to continue doing my work. I'm not going to focus on what Brother Gene got going on because he got a different set of circumstances that he chose to come back to. So, you know what I'm saying? I feel you. I definitely feel you. But, yeah, do your work. Man, I said before, something nobody ever realized. We was talking about how the internet not new. It's all old game. And I'm going to give you an example of what Facebook is, but it was back in the 40s and 50s. You know what it was, Gene?
What's that?
So, Gene, you remember in the Malcolm X movie when Malcolm X was walking down the street and everybody was standing on those little soapboxes preaching?
Kind of like how the Hebrew Israelites do every now and again. They'll stand up on the corner with the
yes.
Preach.
That was low-tech Facebook.
Yeah, it was.
Low-tech Facebook. You stand on your soapbox, whoever come and listen to you, one person might have a crowd of 50, the other person might not have nobody. That's the same thing as putting together a post and you get 50 likes or you get no likes. Man,
because people was going to crowd around you.
It depends on what you say. You might not even be right.
Yeah.
You could be dead wrong. But if you package it right, put enough sugar on the shit, people come and take a bite. So I'm just saying that to say that this platform we got in social media, we all thinking that it's something brand new. It's old game. What most people don't know, if they're not familiar with Noble Drew Ali and the Circle 7 and that aspect of the Quran and 5 percenters, Noble Drew Ali was back in the 30s and 40s. He was around before Elijah Muhammad. A lot of good game. If you ever get a chance to read Circle 7, a lot of good game. Small pamphlet, maybe 20 pages. So much information, you can read it 100 times and still get something new. But the point I'm making is, a lot of people didn't know Noble Drew Ali was a Mason. He was a Mason.
Oh, really?
Yes, he was. Elijah Muhammad was a Mason. Farrakhan is a Mason. You just go back. But them dudes, it's verifiable. You can Google it for yourself. They were Masons. But what I say to myself is, what was they teaching in their logic? Because them dudes came with new game, new information. A lot of people say, to this day, the Asiatic black man. Nobody understand that. Black people that come from Asia, what you talking about? What they was really talking about was Asiya. That's Kabbalah. That's Tree of Life. The bottom, there's four worlds. The Tree of Life is broken up into 4 worlds. It's Absolute, Yetzirah, Bria, and Asiya. Asiya is Asia. So that means that Noble Drew Ali was in some Masonic lodge. They were talking about Asiya, and he interpreted it as Asia. So I said to myself, man, what were they teaching in their lodge? I actually have, Brother Gene, this at you. I'm going to send it to you, too. I actually have the minutes from a Masonic lodge in the 1800s, right? That's
interesting. That's cool.
I'm going to send it to you. I'm going to send it to you. But that's what they had in their lodge.
What they have.
Where the altar was at, they had a pyramid. They had all kind of different stuff. They opened it up, speaking Mandingo. Totally different from what's going on right now. So the point I'm making is the majority of these religions today were started by Masons. The Jewish religion and Catholicism are branches of Masonic thought. Christianity is all Masonic. Christianity,
all Masonic.
What most people don't know is their pastors are Masons. They would be surprised and shocked to find out almost all of them. You know, recently I went to a few. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was
here
in
Michigan. Go ahead, Mike.
Oh, no, I was going to say this. Recently I went to a funeral, right, Gene? And at the funeral, the pastor admitted that this was his first time doing a funeral. And I'm at the funeral, and I'm saying, this is all wrong. I'm watching the whole service. This is wrong. It didn't dawn on me. I had to get up and speak, and I basically took over the service. I took over the service. The brother actually said the funeral was for a brother who was in the streets, and he was living, he was living wild. There was only 4 pallbearers. And the brother said, well, 4 is enough. I can stand up in the middle of the funeral. 4 is not enough. So he asked me why. I said, man, it's the reason why you're judged by 12 and buried by 6. See, these are concepts that the average person wouldn't know nothing about. But we know that 12 is the zodiac. From Masonic lore, we know about the 12 fellowcraft, right?
Mm-hmm.
The number 6 is regeneration. 6 is sex. So when you die and you're buried by 6 people, that's giving you the promise of a good rebirth. You don't want to be buried by 4. You want to be buried by 6. Just like if it's time to be judged, you want to be judged by those 12 zodiacs. 12, 6, these numbers mean something. But I realized, and after it was over with, I got that dude to see if he was a Mason, and he was not. I didn't ask him no outright questions. I hit him with grips and signs and see what he did, and he didn't respond. And so that told me why that funeral service was so shitty. Because a good Mason, as a good pastor, he's going to send somebody off right. Gene, I don't want to keep holding him. I know where you at. It got to be 12:30, man.
Oh, that's no problem. We're in good shape. I was going to say that here in Michigan, a lot of our churches are starting to be named after different Masonic things. Like we've just got a church that opened up here in the Lansing area, the Cornerstone Church. We got there's another one. What's the other place over here? There's a wood place. It's not a church, but it's called what is it? Is it a square? It's not a square deal. I've just been noticing a lot more lately that at least in Michigan, we're not hiding the fact that we're Masons as much anymore. We got a letter from the Grand Masonic in England that pretty soon, for the AM and FM, they're going to open up everything there is to do with Masonry. I'm kind of against it, but that's not here nor there. We're just starting to see a lot more ministers start churches that are named after Masonic, ritualistic stuff. And a person like me sees that, and I know exactly what it is, but a lot of people who have no idea about, symbolisms or anything, they have no idea what that is. What's that noise in the background?
Not me.
Oh, I had to, Central California, I had to mute his call. But yeah, probably should wrap this up here. It is 12:30. I'm not too tired, but I got a few things to get going here for tomorrow. But Michael, it's been amazing talking with you this evening. I would like to just go out and thank you so much. It was too bad Shannon couldn't be with us today. I know he was really looking forward to this show when I spoke to him. So we're most definitely going to have a part 2. I'll get a hold of you, and we'll see about, because Shannon and I usually do a show every 2 weeks. I'd like to come right back in another 2 weeks and finish off with part 2 of Dreams and part 2 of Mason. Like I said, we really hit on some really interesting stuff here, but I think we're just getting to the surface of it, because this kind of stuff, you can just really go on and on and on about for hours with the mysticism and everything that's involved. Did you gave your email? You go ahead and give your contact information again if you'd like to.
Okay. My email is michaelkbell@yahoo.com. That's michaelkbell@yahoo.com. I have an Instagram page, which is under the name of I Am Who I Think I Am, but it's spelled a little different. It's I am _who _ I think _ I am. If you want to catch me on Facebook, it's Michael Bell. I got a lot of followers already, a lot of friends and followers, but I'm down for whatever. I don't sell nothing. I don't got no products I'm pushing. I am writing a book, but I'm down to answer questions. So michaelkbell@yahoo.com. I Am Who I Think I Am on YouTube, on Instagram, and Michael Bell on Facebook. And if anybody want to rap, I got some questions. I'm down. I'm always open for information, but I'm gonna tell you, if you get at me on some wild shit, I'm gonna agree with you and keep it pushing. That's about it.
I love it. Keep it on. You guys can always contact me at mookthethinker, MOOKTHINKER, at gmail.com. Or you can contact me on my Facebook at The Natural Order of. It was great talking to you, Michael, and we'll contact each other via email, via the call here, and we'll talk after the show. And we'll get back together here real soon and continue on part 2 of Dreams and Masonry.
Man, I appreciate it. And, man, thank you for the platform. I sincerely appreciate it.
No problem. I'd like to thank all of our listeners and everybody who was active this evening. Alex, we got a C. Marie, the Moonbeam Flower, and a lot of people from Michigan and a lot of people from California. So, hope everybody stays with it. Stay dark, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye for now.
Down.
Geico asks, how would you love a chance to save some money on insurance? Of course you would. And when it comes to great rates on insurance, Geico can help. Like with insurance for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, and RV. Even help with homeowners or renters coverage. Plus, add an easy-to-use mobile app, available 24-hour roadside assistance and more, and Geico is an easy choice. Switch today and see all the ways you could save. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com or contact your local agent today.